Compared to others, they will compare. They have two mistakes, one mistake.
Next group, Andy. Are you ready? Next group. Okay, which color are you? Which color? Okay, next time you have to come and time లేదు మనకి. ఇక్కడికి రండి ప్లీజ్. ఓకే, అందరూ ఇక్కడికి రావాలండి, టైం లేదు మనకి ప్లీజ్. You cannot hold hands. You cannot hold the balloon. And మీరు స్టార్ట్ అయిన దగ్గర నుంచి అక్కడికి వెళ్ళేంత వరకు you can all వెళ్ళేంత వరకు you have to move. Ready? No touching hands and no touching the balloon. Are you all ready? No. Ready? Set. Ready? Okay, ready, set, go. No holding hands, please. One mistake already. Good job, guys. Slow. Okay. Keep going, guys. Keep going. Done. One mistake, 2 minutes.
Okay. 2 minutes?
Are you kidding me? Instruction says the shortest time. Okay, next group, please come forward.
Rajni, మీ గ్రూప్ ఏంటి కలర్?
Red color. Okay, ready? Red color. No holding hands. No holding balloon. Okay, ready? Ready? Okay. Team building ఇక్కడ బాగా చూపిస్తున్నారు వీళ్ళు. Okay. Ready, set, go. Okay, sorry. Ready, set, go. Time కూడా నోట్ చేస్తున్నాం, so keep that in mind. Watch it.
Okay. Until everybody is done. What's the power Lakshmi? Oh, Lakshmi!
Good job.
Hi!
You did one mistake. ఎవరికి శోభ?
Just have laugh, right? If I didn't organize this country, we just had laugh. That's more than enough.
Anyone who hasn't yet participated, please come and join in the last team.
You guys go ahead.
పద్మ ఇది ఎవరికైనా అసైన్ చేయాలా అప్పుడప్పుడు
This is the last
తీయమని చెప్పేసి ఇది
Please come and join us if you haven't done it.
చేస్తున్నా ఓకే చెప్పండి కనుక ఇది రికార్డింగ్లో ఉంది ఆల్రెడీ అది ఇప్పుడు ఇంపార్టెంట్ వచ్చిన యా ఉన్నది ఒకటి చెప్పండి
You have to walk together without problems.
ఇంకెవరైనా లేట్ గా వచ్చిన వాళ్ళు ఉన్నారండి ఆడని వాళ్ళు ప్లీజ్ కమ్ అండ్ జాయిన్ us యు కెన్ కమ్ అండ్ జాయిన్ అండి దిస్ ఇస్ ద ఫైనల్ వన్ ద లాస్ట్ వన్ ఎవరైనా స్నాక్ తీసుకోండి వాళ్ళు ప్లీజ్ హ్యావ్ ఇట్ అండి ఎందుకంటే విల్ బి టేకింగ్ అవర్ స్నాక్ ఇన్ 10 minutes please and this is the last team that is doing team building activity and please cooperation and we need your session. Okay, ready? Everybody ready? Okay, you have to start here ready? Last person with stage outlet work you cannot leave the room. Okay? Cannot touch the or on your friend person's stage and you have to walk off the stage. The whole line has to walk off the stage. Out of the okay? Ready? Even the balloon pops or just keep going. Okay, are we ready? We don't have time. Can we please move forward?
Don't press hard.
Okay, ready guys? pretty good.
The winners. We are the winners. Keep going. Not everybody is here. Keep going.
Wow. Good job.
ఆయన నేను ఇస్తానులే మనం అడిగితే పర్లేదు ఇంకా చాలా
It's easy to do.
Is it though?
Is it really? We are like not easy. 10 years old.
Thanks Andy, sportive ga aadinanduku. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much. Good evening everyone. Namaste Andy. TAGC and ఆట సంయుక్తంగా జరుపుకుంటున్న ఇంటర్నేషనల్ ఉమెన్స్ డే కార్యక్రమానికి విచ్చేసిన వారందరికీ స్వాగతం. హ్యాపీ ఉమెన్స్ డే అండ్ హ్యాపీ ఆల్ టు ఎవ్రీవన్. సో మనం ఇంట్లో ఏ శుభకార్యం జరిగినా ఫస్ట్ జ్యోతి వెలిగించడం, ప్రార్థన చేయడం మనకు ఆనవాయితీ ఫర్ అవర్ సక్సెస్ అండ్ ప్రాస్పరస్ లైఫ్. సో లెట్స్ స్టార్ట్ లైటింగ్ ద జ్యోతి. I would like to welcome our ATA First Lady Jyoti Madhavaram and TAGC First Lady Sirisha Garpati and TAGC Secretary Sujata Appalneni and Rajalakshmi Chemarla Garu And Nagamalleshwari garu, please come on near the stage and lighting the lamp. And Preeti Anandula garu, please come here. Thank you all for lighting the lamp. Now Jyoti will sing song. Jyoti Tippana will sing a song.
Malati. Center ki rama. We can't see it.
Krapa Sagara Paramkrupa Sagara Paramkrupa Sagara Varasuguna Paramkrupa Sagara Varasuguna Palita Jana Gopala Tasanuta Palita Jana Gopala Dasanuta Vinayaka Nino Vina Brochutaku Behere Varura Vina Raja Vinayaka
Thank you, Jyoti. Now, welcome speech by ATA President and TAGC President. Please welcome to the dais. And all the team.
So, welcome Andy. It's a little bit nervous for me. Usually on stage, I'm usually not nervous. So when I get on the stage, I can talk so easily. But now looking at all the ladies, I feel like I'm odd man out here. But I just want to say a hearty welcome on behalf of Telugu Association of Greater Chicago and American Telugu Association. So I know a lot of you have also cancelled your spring break plans to attend this first ever event conducted. So thank you very much. So actually I'm going to end it really short. So the first చేద్దామని చెప్పేసి we wanted to do this in back in November ఆ టైంలో అనుకున్నాం అనమాట. సో చేద్దాం నెక్స్ట్ ఇయర్ అనగానే so the first person who came forward is Karnakar. So Karnakar వచ్చి let's do it, let's go for it అన్నాడు. So we kind of started planning for it and then we finally made it happen. So మేము పిలవగానే కూడా వచ్చినటువంటి గెస్ట్ రంజని అయ్యంగారు, ఇందిరా కౌశిక్, రమా గారు అండ్ మెహర్ మేడవరం గారు. So thank you all. So thank you for making time to come here despite your busy schedules. అండ్ అదే కాకుండా ఇది చేయడానికి చాలా మంది వాలంటీర్స్ ముందుకు వచ్చారు. సో నేను పేర్లు మర్చిపోతానేమో అని అది ఒకటే రాసుకొచ్చాను. సుజాత అప్పలనేని, జ్యోతి మాధవరం, ఓకే, సుజాత అప్పలనేని, జ్యోతి మాధవరం, వందనారెడ్డి, పద్మ మాదిరెడ్డి, నందిని కొండపల్లి, కిరణ్ మర్చే, మాలతి దామరాజు, భార్గవి నెట్టం, కిరణ్ నూతలపాటి, Sunita Matta. Thank you all. A big thank you for really working together as a team to make this happen. So I think once again, welcome all and thank you.
Good evening all. On behalf of ATA and American Telugu Association and TAGC, I would like to welcome all TAGC and ATA families and honored guests, and for taking time to attend this. This Women's Day, from ATA's point of view, we celebrated in few cities so far: Philadelphia, New Jersey, Washington DC, and this is another place. When Ramesh proposed this idea, I thought, okay, let's do it together. So. As TAGC and ATA have been doing a lot of activities together, programs. This is a wonderful idea, and this is the first time a Telugu association is doing this kind of program for women. So this, like Women's Day was started, like as you know, 1909 in USA to support a woman who fought against the working conditions in a garment industry. Since then, every year, the program being conducted in all the various places. But this is the first year came, thought let's do something for our community and for the women community, and to honor our women community. And this year's theme is a promise is a promise, and the time for action to end the violence. So that means a lot needs to be done in this area. So few of the recent examples are Delhi event, and there is another event in Pakistan. A lady, 14 years girl, Malala, who wanted to go to school was shot. Like these, lot of events are there. With this, we'll send a strong message that it's a time to end the violence, and we are going to support that on behalf of ATA and TAGC. And I welcome you all. Thank you for attending. Thanks once again.
Thank you, Ramesh Garu and Karnakar Garu. Please come on the stage once. And Jagan Bukkaraj Garu and Srinivas Pedamal Garu and Narendra Chemarla. Please, thank you so much for supporting us. And even now they are showing us even behind the women, the men are helping. So please thank you them. I would like to invite Jagan Bukkaraj Garu. Please come here. And Narendra Chemarla Garu and Srinivas Pedamal Garu. Thank you so much. Now we have a small tribute for our women leaders. So Kiran Matte and Kiran Nurdalpadi garu kashtabadi they started something projection here. So please have a look. Thank you.
How do we combine?
you. It's a wonderful presentation. Health is wealth, nothing else matters అంటున్నా డాక్టర్ మెహర్ మేదవరం ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేయాల్సిందిగా డాక్టర్ భార్గవి నెట్టం గారిని కోరుతున్నాము.
Good evening, everybody. I take the honor to introduce Dr. Meher Medavaram, who will be speaking tonight about women's health. Please join me in welcoming her. Dr. Medavaram is a graduate from Osmania Medical College, Hyderabad, India. She did her residency training in Chicago, Illinois, and currently practicing in western suburbs of Chicago. She is an assistant program director at St. Elizabeth Hospital and also clinical preceptor for the students of University of Illinois at Chicago. Dr. Meher Garu.
Thanks, Parvati. Thank you, everybody. And this is really a great occasion to start like this. It's wonderful that we have women have in the ATA celebration. So let me start off. I know health is wealth, but I'll try to make this kind of a little bit interesting and simpler because it's so much to cover in that. So I don't want to bore you guys. So.
You guys sit.
So I didn't expect any men to be here. Just on a lighter note, we thought we should have a little fun when on a Women's Day for women. So if you go to the next slide. So usually a lot of women tell me that most of the problem they have is because of men. So sorry guys, I didn't mean to say anything to you. So did everybody have a good laugh at that? Okay. So let's go to the next slide.
I know.
And I guess we're starting off serious note. So next slide. Yeah. Okay. So World Health Organization actually it defines health as state of complete physical, mental, social, and well-being, not merely just the absence of disease and infirmity. So when we talk about wellness, it's a state of optimal well-being, integration of mind, body, spirit, oriented towards maximizing an individual's potential. See, we are not just saying that health, just is physical health. I mean, a person may be very fit physically, but if you're not enjoying the life, you're not getting everything out of it, that's not wellness. So there's so many aspects of it. So optimal wellness allows us to achieve our goals and find meaning and purpose in our lives. So in day-to-day things, when you see, unless, the person who is really well-rounded is always happy, because they're trying to achieve in all aspects. So next slide. So the ability to live life to the fullest and maximize your personal potential in variety of ways. A lot of people have the potential, but they don't come out to do it. There's so many obligations, so many frustrations, so many things, and you are always worried about someone saying something, but just come out of the shell. You got so much more in you to do it. So not only just physical, but mental, emotionally. So it involves continually learning, making changes to enhance your state of well-being. So it's not just what has happened before. People will say, okay, I decided to do that. No, that's past. What are your choices right now? How do you kind of, make your choices and get better with your life? So when we balance this physical, intellectual, emotional, and social aspects of life, we achieve true wellness. So that's where we call health as well, because you are getting in all aspects. Next one. So physical health, of course, everybody knows this. You maintain it by good nutrition, regular exercise, avoiding harmful habits, and making informed and responsible decisions about health, and also seeking assistance when necessary. Now, everybody knows what to do, good eating, exercise, and all that. Now, also, you have so much overload of information on the internet. Everybody knows what, if you have a disease, if you think you have an illness or an ailment, you can go online, you can look up, but at the same time, make sure you're getting the right thing. Go and seek help with a physician or a therapist, whoever it is, to get the right decision that you need to do for that. Okay, let's get. So now the intellectual health. This is exactly what we are seeing here today. So what it is your mind is engaged in lively interaction with the world around you. Exactly what we are seeing today. Because look at you all. It is so wonderful to see that, with the team building activity, everything. So you're interacting, you're changing you're talking to people. It doesn't have to be something big. It could be as little as sharing your thoughts, just even if someone has sharing a recipe between you, creating that. That's simple. It doesn't have to be a big scientific thing. It doesn't have to be big intellectual. Read a book, discuss with other people. Or go to a movie, discuss about it. So you are having some stimulation between us instead of cooping up in our own world and thinking that we are the only ones in there. So this dimension involves involving the things you have learned to create opportunities for these dynamic interactions. Now, emotional health. This is pretty big for me. I feel that the ability to understand your own feelings. A lot of women, we are very emotional because that's how we are. The mankind is, men are gatherers and, they are the hunters and gatherers and women are nurturers. So our emotions, our feelings, the way we react is really different and we need to understand that. A lot of times, you feel that achieving the emotional stability and trying to become comfortable, we have so many changes in our body all through. Monthly changes, whatever changes, premenopausal, menopause, or even like PMSing. Everybody thinks, what happens because of hormones? You get anxious, nervous, angry. But learn to recognize it. Learn to recognize yourself. Okay, wait a minute, something's happening. Then you can take care of it instead of saying to them. So that actually, recognizing what is wrong with you, getting in touch with your emotions, and moving on. And trying to get help if you need. Otherwise, you share your happiness. So, adjusting to change and cope with stress in healthy way and enjoy life despite its occasional frustrations and disappointments. All through our lives, we get frustration, disappointments, but if you just just keep in that and sit in that, nothing is going to happen for us. So we need to move out, share, and enjoy life. Next. Now, social health, this is so important, especially when we move out from our culture, people coming in from Indian culture, American culture, assimilating. Socially, there are so many differences. I mean, when you go to a workplace, schools, colleges, everywhere, even for our kids, different aspects, how they deal with it and how we deal with it. Now, social IQ is so important now, I'm saying. So social IQ, of course, a lot of people are born with it. Some people are just outgoing. They always go and meet friends. Some don't. But it could be a learned behavior too. So once we come in, we need to know. So social aspect is really, this is where what we're doing, like intellectual and social gatherings, it makes me feel good. Everybody, I see a smile on their faces too. Everybody looks happy. So this is all it is. This is life living. So now, if you're cooped up with work, and if this is what your boss is saying, that you've been working awfully hard lately, if you need a little fresh air and sunshine, go to www.freshair.com and sunshine. If that's what you're doing all the time, working up, you better have a talk with your boss, and you better see what you're doing actually. So stress is what you need to work on also. Now getting back to the actual thing about what to do, I mean physically, what are you going to do? I mean, how are you going to take care of yourself? This is at different ages for women. So like you're in your 20s and 30s, really not much. All you want to do is you work on your weight, you see how you are. I mean, are you in the correct BMI or not? Get your blood pressure checked, get your cholesterol checked with your doctor, just one blood test once a year, or once in 3 years also at early 20s, that's all you need. And plus, get your breast exams, so pap smear, eye exam, and regular immunization. So between 20s and 30s, it's really all on you. You just have to maintain and go. And then once you get into 40s and 50s, check out, keep an eye on your calcium, because that's like your calcium, your vitamin D, make sure you don't get osteopenia, osteoporosis, because that's, in the long term, takes you into your 50s, 60s, and 70s, then you want to have healthy bones, so you don't break a bone, and that's the end of a lot of people's life. So, in managing menopause, understand it, because some people can get an early menopause. So you have to go to and check it out. And if it is, if you have a problem with it, then you need to talk to your physician. But at the same time, hormones are something that really we don't advocate, because people, it's an easy answer. Maybe makes you feel really good when you take it, but there's so many adverse effects for it, because people can get breast cancers, heart disease, and pulmonary embolism and all. So I would say, try to see naturally what you can. It's a natural process of life. Understand it. Unless it becomes too much, then okay, maybe you need to get some help for maybe for a year or two. And of course, this is one thing that I have a lot of problems trying to convince people to get a colonoscopy. So this is so important. If you find something early, you can take care of it, and that's the end of it. I mean, think about it. If it's a small thing that you can take care of right then and there, and you're done with it, later on after coming up 2 years, if someone comes with a cancer, you're already, your life is limited there. Remember, really, I want to promote this. Colonoscopy, you go, all you remember is shake hands with the doctor, say hello, and then you're ready to go home. You won't know what's happening. It's just mentally you think, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. So it is really not that difficult as physical as it, but maybe it's an emotional aspect to it, but get over it. Diabetes screening. Let me go on then. Diabetes screening also, so many of us don't know that we are pre-diabetic. You have to understand, and even when we get the results, we tell the patients, first thing they say is, I want to do diet and exercise. No medicines. I don't want to do it. Yes, you can do it. That's a part of it. But when you need medicine, you really should take it and keep the sugars under control. Because just remember, once someone is diagnosed with diabetes, the organ damage must have started 5 to 10 years before that. So it's very important. Simple test, check it out. Mammograms, can't stress more. I know that there are now different regulations. They're coming up and saying 50, that's debatable, because there's so many women also earlier than 50 also can get it. So you should get mammograms regularly. Check it out with your physicians. And it's very, very important, because if you can find something at an early stage, it's totally cured. You have to understand it's cured. It's 10 years to 15 years survival. We have a lot of patients like that when you diagnose early. Now 60, of course, that's use it or lose it. If you don't use your physically, if you don't your muscles, you don't your mind, that's gone. So the more you do, the more you keep active, even if it's a minimal exercise, or even brain-wise. I mean, you got to keep yourself active. Read books, watch, have discussions, go out, do something creative, go on a vacation, see new places, anything which you can keep yourself busy. Strength training doesn't have to be really great, just a little bit, even 1 to 2 pounds. If you're at home, just do it. And keep yourself moving. That's the most important thing. And bone density screenings, of course, colonoscopy, again, we say that. People who are about 60, 65 get your pneumonia shots and shingles shots. So these are the recommendations for health listing. So, which you can, it's pretty simple. They're there. You can go online, see for your age, what's need to be done, you can do it. If you want to exercise, and if you're like someone like this, want to exercise, but he can't see his shoes because they're right down under his feet. Can't find it. And so, okay, let's go to the next. Now, know where you stand. That means, what is your BMI? Everybody should know this. Find out. When you go to the doctor, get your height and weight, say, where's my BMI? As long as you're 24.9, you're okay. Keep maintaining. Once you get to about 25, then you're in the overweight range. You got to do something. You got to do diet. You got to exercise. Get it down. And BMI over 40, you're really in trouble. That's obesity. Now, health risk increases with BMI. As BMI increases, you can get diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, immune problem, a lot of stuff. Let's go to the next one. What kind of diets do we do? How do we do it? We used to get all these pyramids and everything. It's so confusing. People don't know exactly what. So if you see now, the recent new thing is choosemyplate.gov. Go up and see what they want. How do they divide their plate of food? So your protein has to be just about a deck of cards. Anything you eat, chicken, fish, meat, or whatever you do. And then if your grains, whole grains, that's what you want to do. That's how you divide your plate. And your vegetables should be the one filling the plate. When I say vegetable to something like our community, I don't mean like, a lot of mirchi ka salan or bagara bangan, where there's all loaded with oil, right? What you want is regular vegetables, steamed or with less oil. So that's what. Fruits, watch out, it's good. Fruits, you need to have 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. But don't consume too much like mangoes or watermelon, which are very high in calories. Limit it. Limit what it is. When especially I want to mention, because we all are rice eaters, when you talk about a calorie, 1 serving of rice, whatever fits in your palm. The best way to know, if it fits in your palm, that's all. If it's pasta, rice. Even if it's your quinoa, if a lot of people are doing that, whatever it is, if it fits in a palm, that's what it is. Okay? So let's go to the end. Also, being physically active. We go to the next one. Okay, I guess if all of us, even like me, if I'm physically, I don't think exercise really makes you live longer, but just makes you seem like you're living longer. Because that's all it is. If you find an exercise which is not conducive to it, if you're exercising and if you're feeling tired, you don't want to do it, you're bored with it, that's not an exercise. You could just go dancing. You can go, there's so many now open. Anything which makes you feel good, makes you move. It doesn't have to be a strenuous exercise in a health club. Just go, make your own stuff. All your friends get together every Sunday or whatever. Have a class, get a Zumba dance or any dance now you can do, so that all keep moving. That's the important thing. How much exercise do you need to get? And of course, the benefits of exercise, I don't have to tell you. The long list, everything goes down. Like with heart attack, stroke, high blood pressure, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and cancer. So let's see how much we need. Now this is CDC says that if you get 150 minutes in a week, okay, 150 minutes will lower your risk for premature death, coronary heart disease, stroke, hypertension, diabetes, and depression. If you get to about 150 to 300 minutes, you got maximum benefits with lowering risk of colon cancer, breast cancer, unhealthy weight gain, and increased effect more than that. Think about it. 150 minutes in a week. That's like, if you divide it, it's about half an hour per weekday. And if it's getting 300, that's 1 hour. So it's not really bad, but the benefits are really tremendously great. So, we go to the next one. So, now regarding a lot of things that you hear everywhere, dietary supplements. You go switch on Dr. Oz or Oprah or anywhere. What do you see? Tons and tons of dietary supplements. So I guess someone in the pharmacy, they're gonna, if you have a very wake up and then they go for your diet supplement thinking. So he's getting busy in the pharmacy there. Let's see. All these dietary supplements, I think must have heard it. Green tea, hoodia root, raspberry ketones, resveratrol, coconut oil, capsaicin, and there's HCG. All this, none of these, there's no solid research to support that these really work for you. But if you feel that it works for you, they are supplements. Go for it. But at the same time, don't expect that really they're going to do anything for you. Okay? Let's go to the next. So now the last is the stress. So stress really, once you get the stress, you need to take control of your stress. So can you move on? So stress, reducing stress is a major aspect of well-being. Okay, stress can lead to a variety of physical ailments, including obesity, hypertension, cardiac problems, anxiety, depression, ulcers, and depressed immunity. While stress is it's a natural phenomenon, flight and fear. When you get stressed out, that means you get the fear and fight in it, increases the hormones, they have all adverse effects. So this goes on, builds up, and over the years, if you keep on doing it every day, you'll definitely build up. So most important thing which is in your hand is trying to control your stress. Relieve your stress sometimes the easiest way, whatever works for you. Let's see the next one. So it's important you find the activities which helps you best relax and relieve stress. If it's reading a book relaxes, please do it. If you're listening to music, do it. Exercise, do it. Whatever, what relaxes you. If you just sit and cooking is relaxing, just do it, but don't overcook. Okay? Whatever makes it. If you go shopping relaxes you, mindful, then it'll cause you to have financial stress then. Okay, so whatever makes it. But in addition to that, I just wanted to make it simple. What we do is every day, day to day. Now, as for us as physician, when we're seeing so many, every day you have something, you have another patient, something. What can you do during the day where you are? Suppose if you're a person who are an IT person, you have a project, something is failing, your boss is yelling, you want to relieve stress at that minute. So let's see if you can you go to the next one? Now this is actually by, it's a Vietnamese Buddhist monk. He says, first thing, smile. When you really feel, and it's difficult to say, smile. When your boss is yelling at you, you think like, okay, I quit this time. Smile first, then go slowly. And then look what you can do next one. Smile, go next one. So these are all the stresses, like your parents are it, your poor health, not enough sleep, too busy, burned out, too much paperwork, all this. If anybody denies you, I don't agree. Even if you're not working, even if you're home, everybody has some stress element. So when you do this, okay, suppose if you have problem with in-laws, yelling and screaming, whatever, think about this. Let's do it. You have 6 minutes, 6 seconds, you can get this. Can you go to the next one? So do you have 6 seconds? Why don't we all try right now? Okay, go ahead, next one. 6 seconds. 1 relaxing breath, okay? 2 seconds breathing in, 4 seconds to breathe out. Okay, let's go. So go to the next one. Breathe in, 1, 2. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3. Let's do it again and see. Just smile, keep smiling, don't think anything. Only 6 seconds, it will. Next time when you are at what you're doing, just think for 2 minutes, think and see if it works for you. At least that stress and tension, it may not go totally, but you can calm down and then maybe you'll feel like, okay, you can regroup your thoughts and work better. So that's all I wanted to say, just most important thing for all of you. So now, at this point, hold on, no, not yet. I just thought since it's Women's Day, we have to have a little bit fun on them. So since they are always there, helping us out, and we still have to recognize them. So who should get the Husband of the Year award? You can make the judge. So let's go on. So who gets it? Next, first one. So look at that. I don't know if you can see it. It's a guy, he's sleeping in the tent and she's outside laying down in the tent. So that's okay. Next one. And this is American. So look at him, he's relaxing, he's smoking away and she's rowing, she's a skinny one rowing. Let's go to that close one. Okay, the next one. Next one, look at that. Look at her. And okay, let's go to the next. So that's, I hope nobody has anything like this. Okay, now look at that. They're putting in a cage for the luggage and taking that. Okay, one more, last one I guess. That's it. Even if you want to have a beer, let the women carry the whole crate. Come on, slug it up. And look, he's getting only 6 packs, right? Look at that, India. That's it? Okay. All right, that's it. Thank you for all your attention. It's really a pleasure to be here. Thanks.
I know all of you had a lot of fun. It was very informative and awesome. Really awesome. But it's time for anybody to ask any questions regarding the topic. I can come into the audience. Anybody has questions?
Hello, doctor. You had mentioned about the supplement, dietary supplements.
Yes.
How about vitamins? I mean, are they
Vitamins, vitamins, yes. That's a good question. Yes, you need to have your B complex. You need to have your vitamin D. Vitamin supplements are good. You need to take them. But dietary supplements is what I was just saying about. You need to take, actually you should go and have your vitamin D, B12 and folic acid checked out. A lot of people, you won't realize that you do have deficiency and we don't even realize that. Same with iron. So whenever you go for a test, just go ahead and ask your doctors to check these 5 things, iron, B12, folic acid, vitamin D. It's almost like an epidemic that we see the vitamin D deficiency. And it's easily controllable. It's easily, you can just take the supplements and then you repeat the test and repeat.
Hi, Doctor. I have a question about the portions that you mentioned.
Yeah.
You mentioned the deck card size of meat. Do you have equivalent amount for vegetarians?
Well, same thing. If you think, if what you're looking at is you need to get about 70 grams to 80 grams, just about less than 100 grams of protein. So if you're talking about your dal or what, even cheese or anything, same thing. Just think about it. That's all how much you need, about 70 to 80. We eat way too much than what we need, and we know that. I mean, really, today we had the appetizers, right? That was enough protein for us for this meal. We're not going to stop there. We're going to go. So it's the same thing. So in vegetarian also. So yeah.
But she doesn't seem like Sinisha, Ganappa. She doesn't seem like overeating.
No, she doesn't.
That was a very nice talk. Just one comment.
Thank you.
BMI of 24.9, that's a Caucasian standard.
True.
So I think we're not really sure what it is for Asians, so we need to be a little more careful. Because even with the sleep apnea, when you look at the Asian literature, you see it in much lower BMIs. And so even 24, it may be too much for us. I think we need to do more research.
24.9 is a cutoff limit. You don't want to. Once you're getting there, it's already like a yellow signal to a red light. You're better off being around 22 and 23. And on the question of sleep apnea, a lot of times, yes, weight does make a difference, but there are a lot of people, you have to recognize you could be skinny, but you can still have sleep apnea, because it could something called central apnea, where it's not actually the weight that is causing that, but it's like the weight. So some people can be very skinny, but snoring used to be a joke, but it's really not. So if anybody in your lives that you know of is snoring, just observe if they have. It's a very serious condition, because sleep apnea can lead to a lot of things, including hypertension and also a sudden death, MI, strokes. So snoring is not something to be taken lightly. We used to do that all through the plenty of jokes, but anybody that you know of, your loved ones, your family, just have them go do a sleep study.
Since the multivitamin things came up, is it true that taking the Centrum tablets and all that is not of a good health? Taking the liquid form of multivitamin is what is the best form?
But you have to see how much, the amount of it in each tablet, okay? So if you are, there is not much difference with absorption rate. Some patients, if they have, there are certain vitamins like B12 or something, you need to have certain thing in your stomach. It's called intrinsic factor. If you don't have that, even if you take tons of vitamin B12, it won't get absorbed. So there are certain things that, for each person's actually differs in absorption rates. So if you want to take B complex, you can take the highest, that's fine. Centrum is pretty adequate with everything. If you're taking 1 or 2 liquid form, because they have the feeling it's absorbing, it's better, but in the long run, if you've seen all the study, it doesn't make much difference. In B12, I just want to mention that sublingual B12 is much better than taking a pill, because it really bypasses the stomach. So you might find sublingual B12, instead of getting a shot of B12, go get yourself sublingual B12, you can find it now, and that's just a chewable one. And most of the other, in the B complex, A, D, E, and K, don't take too much. Okay, unless D, if you have deficiency, you need to do that. B complex and C you can take, that's fine. All it's going to do is hurt your purse, but not your health that much. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you again for the attention.
This is from ATA and TAGC representatives, Dr. Mehan Medavaram Garu, for her contribution to women empowerment, Women's Conference, March 2013, Chicago, Illinois. Karnakar Madhavan, President ATA, and Ramesh Garapati Garu, President TAGC. And I know chala mandiki chala questions unnayandi. We can take it later if you really want to, and we can ask Madam Garu reply to your emails too. If anybody really wants to talk to her, please one of our volunteers, please contact us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyoti. We are moving to our next program, Both Sides of the Coin. It's a very interesting topic by Dr. Rama Gaurneni. I would like to welcome Vandana to introduce the guest.
శ్రోతలకు నమస్కారం. మార్చి 8వ తేదీ అంతర్జాతీయ మహిళల దినం. ఈరోజు TAGC మరియు ఆటా ద్వారా మనమందరం ఈ మహిళల దినం జరుపుకోవడం ఎంతో సంతోషం. ప్రస్తుత ప్రక్రియలో ప్రతి రంగంలో మహిళలు ఎంతో ఎత్తుకు ఎదిగి స్త్రీ జాతికి మరియు మానవ జాతికి ఎనలేని పేరు ప్రతిష్టలు తేవటం ఎంతో గర్వకారణం. అమెరికాలో స్త్రీ జాతికి గర్వకారణంగా ఉదాహరణంగా నిలిచిన ఒక మహిళ డాక్టర్ రమా గౌర్నేని గారు. రమా గారిని ఈరోజు మీ అందరికీ పరిచయం చేయడానికి అవకాశం ఇచ్చిన TAGC వారికి, ఆటా వారికి నా కృతజ్ఞతలు. డాక్టర్ రమా గారు అమెరికాలో పెరిగి చదువు ఇండియాలో కొనసాగించి తిరిగి ఇచ్చటికి వచ్చి అతి ప్రతిష్టాకరమైన నార్త్ వెస్టర్న్ యూనివర్సిటీ ఫైన్బర్గ్ స్కూల్ ఆఫ్ మెడిసిన్లో అసిస్టెంట్ ప్రొఫెసర్ గాను మరియు మెడికల్ స్టూడెంట్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్కి డైరెక్టర్ ఆఫ్ న్యూరాలజీ పదవిని కొనసాగిస్తున్నారు. డాక్టర్ రమా గారు నడిచిన ఈ బాట, సంపాదించిన పేరు ప్రతిష్టలు మనందరికీ ఎంతో గర్వకారణమే కాక మన యువతకు మార్గదర్శకం. తూర్పు పడమర సరిపాళ్లలో మిళితమైన భావాలతో దిగ్విజయమైన బాట ఏర్పరిచిన రమా గారు తన భావాలు భావనలు మీ ముందుకి ఉంచడానికి విచ్చేశారు. రమా గారిని స్టేజ్ దగ్గరికి రావాల్సిందిగా కోరుతూ ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చిన మీ అందరికీ మరొకసారి నా కృతజ్ఞతలు.
Namaste everyone. I think we have some non-Telugu people here, so I'm going to talk in English. At first, I'd like to thank Dr. Ramesh Gadaparti Garu for inviting me and for putting the International Women's Day celebration together. I thought that was very thoughtful, especially since he himself is not a woman, to think of this and to put it together. When he first asked me to talk about this, and then I saw the other topics that the doctors and all were talking about, I thought he gave me the easy topic. I thought you have to speak about all of health. All I have to do is talk about how I grew up and how I did things differently. But as I started thinking of what to say, I realized what a hard topic this is. And the purpose of the talk initially was to try to say I'm doing something better than my parents because of my experience. But by the end of the talk, I realized I actually give full marks to my parents. I'm not sure I'm doing anything much better than what my parents have done in raising me. So I'm not an authority on raising children. As I think most of you will attest, the hardest job is being a parent. I've had many accomplishments. You know, I became a doctor. I went through medical school. I came back. I wrote the national boards at got into a residency at a time when it was very tough. And after that, I completed 2 fellowships. I passed my boards. I received 2 promotions, first to assistant professor, then to associate professor. And all of these, they have their block. I mean, they have barriers. But yet, we understand the barriers, and as women and who've been educated and are trying to achieve things, you have to get through the barriers and you achieve what you need to. But being a parent, it's very different. And I think being a parent is probably one of the hardest jobs. And for all the trouble I gave my parents, now I'm feeling what they must have felt when they were raising me. When I first moved here, it was in the 1970s. I think one of the fortunes I had is I was about 5 or 6 years old when I first moved here. So I had a good I still have memory of being in India. When my father came here to do his master's, we stayed in our village for almost 2 or 3 years before we came and joined my father. And my grandfather at that time, so I had a lot of influence from both my great-grandmother and my grandfather. My grandfather, Patudi Rajagopal Naik Garu, he was a member of parliament, but he lost the election, so he was actually home in the village. So we spent a lot of time together. So I had a strong relation with my grandparents. And when we came here, it was a big culture shock. The culture shock at that time is a lot greater than I think even the culture shock right now for Indians coming to the United States. Because the world is a lot more global, there's internet, and most women are educated, and they have a lot of exposure to the Western culture even before coming here. When I came, almost everybody lived in villages. There were very few people living in the city, so there was a lot less exposure. I still remember being in the village once, somebody showed me a plane and said, that's the plane you're going to go to America in. And I thought, how are we all going to fit in that plane? That's how innocent we were at that time. There were so many doubts, and we were so attached to my grandparents at that time and the community. So coming here and seeing all these white people, and nothing personal, but not being able to speak English or understand what they were saying, it was very difficult. My mom was pretty young. She sent me to, she used to let me walk to school in Chicago public school, so she was very brave. Now I believe. At that time, it was in 1970. I was reading about the history of TAGC. The first TAGC started in 1971, but by that time we moved from Chicago to Pittsburgh, so we weren't here when it first started. But the Telugu people here were so few at that time. I still remember my mother going to a grocery shop and seeing Kamala Raj uncle's wife over there. So they were both looking at each other, because they were both wearing saris. Then they went and tried to speak to each other and realized they were both Telugu. One had a Chittoor accent, the other had a Godavari accent. They were so happy that they both hugged each other. They were so, and my mother had an invitation to her home for dinner by the time we left. And the first time we went to dinner, it was like, Em Naidu Garu, Em Raj Garu. And it was a feeling like finally we have somebody from our own place. That's how well knitted we were. So when we came back, a lot of my growing up was among TAGC activities, and the way this conversation came is that Ramesh Garu, he wanted to know why the younger generation who grew up here don't come to TAGC activities anymore, so we're just discussing things and trying to think why. But at that time, TAGC was very important because there was a sense of community. And my grandfather came to visit us in 1974. By that time, my brother and I, we weren't speaking Telugu at all. Because in school, they asked our parents to talk to us in English at home because we had a lot of difficulty catching up and staying ahead. So we completely forgot Telugu, and we even have difficulty speaking with my great-grandmother. So my grandfather told my father, he said, mana bhasha marchipothe etla enta nechukunte matram mana bhasha nerpinchalu. So that's when my father was involved. In 1975, he was TAGC president, and later he helped develop Telugu school. I still remember my teachers, two of the most excellent teachers I had. Sudha Garu and Sudha Auntie and Prema Auntie, they taught us in such a methodical way that I still remember how to read Telugu because of the way they taught me. And my father helped start Yuva Kendra because I kept telling him, you never teach us about Hindu, but you keep telling us we're Hindu. What's the use? So he got involved with the temple committee and encouraged me to get involved with Yuva Kendra. I told Ramesh Garu when we met, one of the reasons that I wasn't attending all TAGC activities, a lot of times when my parents, they only got together with Telugu people. So a lot of times they didn't interact with my friends' parents from school, and also there was always a fear when we went and tried to get involved in activities at school. So I didn't want to make the same mistake, so I've been very involved. Like if the kids are involved in activities, I go and I try to get involved with the parents and try to get to know the parents of the children and all. But looking back now, there's a lot that is it okay if I sit down? I'm just feeling a little bit dizzy.
You want water?
So, when my father was involved, most of our activities were around what he was involved in, whether it was TAGC or temple committee. So a lot of times when he arranged meetings, I used to help him. Like I'd set up the donuts and the coffee when the uncles came and talked to them. And there's a lot of times my father guided me as to what type of conversation to lead to make them feel welcome. And now, even though I'm in the medical school, a lot of my social skills really go back to the period when I used to communicate with people. Whether I'm speaking with my chairman, whether I'm speaking with professors, whether I'm speaking with the dean of the university, it's the same skills that actually come back to me. Because it's so rare to be part of such a community and be such an integral part of it. This is a lot of things that I really didn't provide for my own children by keeping them away from a lot of this for a long time.
aspect of my life that I wanted to share with you. So these are mostly experiences and not so much messages that I'm trying to give you. But when I went back to India for college, the few things that I was really surprised is even though I didn't have a lot of family here, I had a lot of aunties and uncles who were really close. So when I was getting ready to go back to college, my mother had actually left a few months early to spend time with my grandfather. So a lot of them sat down with me and gave me a lot of advice of what to expect and what to do what to do to not get into trouble once I was in college. So they told me if boys try to talk to you, don't talk to them at all. It's not good. If they're, no good is going to come out of it, and this can happen, that can happen. So that's the main message I got. So when I first joined medical school, anytime a boy tried to talk to me, I used to turn the other way and start walking really fast. So I was actually very surprised to see how many girls and boys used to talk and actually were in groups, even in the dark, after college hours. So I realized then a lot of the values my parents raised me with and the aunties and uncles here kept here was actually 1970 values. And this was 1982 when I went to college. So that was a real surprise to me. Next to when I got married, my marriage was in India. I had my children in India. So I lived in India for a while before coming here. And the few things is having grown up in the United States, I didn't have a lot of extended family. It was mostly, again, my aunties and uncles that I grew up with. So in general, the nature here tends to be very straightforward, and I never really was in the habit of knowing how to be a little more diplomatic in families where you have lots of sister-in-laws and in-laws and all. So I think some of the trouble that I got into at times was maybe just being too straightforward and saying exactly what was on my mind. But other than that, I'm really happy I got married in India and came back and all. But right now, I think even my children, I really tried to understand things differently since I've grown up here. I think I understand their school better, what they go through in school and some of the culture and what goes on in their mind. But at the same time, even though I think I'm being fair, I think I'm being more fun than my parents were and more engaging, and I listen to them more. If you ask them, I'm not sure they'd say the same thing right now. So I'm not sure what the message is here, but I thought I'd just stay and share some of my experiences with you. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your experience. And I would like to request Sirisha Garpati to honor the guest. Rama Gaurnen garu, please come on the stage.
Thanks, Rama garu, మీ experience share చేసుకున్నందుకు. This is from ATA and TAGC to Rama Gaurnen.
రమా గవర్నమెంట్ గారు చెప్పినట్టు విన్నారు కదా. సో మీరు మీ పిల్లలకి తెలుగు నేర్పించాలంటే యూ కెన్ కాంటాక్ట్ సుజాత అప్పల్నేని. షీ ఇస్ రన్నింగ్ ద అంగన్వాడీ స్కూల్. సో ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ ఇంట్రెస్టెడ్, యు ఆల్వేస్ వెల్కమ్. And now we are going to our next segment, corporate ladder. So Kiran Matte will take over this.
Hello, Andy. Okay. Busting the myth that women are less ambitious than men, we have two extraordinary women who have been very successful in corporate America. They have held numerous leadership positions, and their profile speaks volumes about what they have accomplished despite the odds. It's not about the lack of ambition, it's about the cost of ambition for women. We are here to learn from them what gets in the way of women's ambitions today and what needs to change in our culture and in corporate America for women to reach their highest potentials in business. Here we have Ranjini Iyengar, Managing Director of Bridge. She is a leader, entrepreneur, high-impact executive with multinational experience. Over 20 years of experience in organization learning, leadership development, and talent management. Welcome, Ranjini. Next person we have is Indra Kaushik. She is a director in IT department at CVS Pharmacy, Kmart. Leads a large development team with multiple managers and teams located in several locations. Part of the leadership program for leaders of tomorrow. She also volunteers with service organizations like Chicago Cares, Innovations for Learning and other activities that align with serving the community. Welcome, Indira. So we'll have a panel discussion here. They have a lot of experience, so let's kick off. According to CNN studies, there is very slow progress for women in corporate America. I'm sure these numbers will be a lot more for minority women. Where do you think the problem is? Let's start with Ranjini.
So I think the first thing is that it's not just minority women who are underrepresented. I think women in general are underrepresented in corporate America. You know, the pyramid keeps getting narrower as you go up. And if you look at the number of minority women who actually stay past the middle of the pyramid, the pool gets smaller and smaller. So, you know, it's not entirely surprising. And the reason women, the number of women who climb up gets fewer, I think are two reasons. One is women self-select out of the system. You know, many women realize that the corporate dream is really not their dream. You know, they may realize that when you take a holistic perspective of life, you know, we talked about children, we talked about, you know, the community. We come from a different culture, there are different expectations of us. And, you know, becoming the senior director, becoming the vice president, the senior vice president, the CEO, may not be that attractive anymore. And it's perfectly all right, as long as you're happy with that choice. So that's one thing. The second thing is a lot of women, I think, just give up. They give up because corporate America is not a pleasant place to be. I don't know that corporations necessarily have succeeded in building sustainable businesses. It's really not an example of a place which brings out the best in you. There's very much of a win-lose mentality rather than a win-win mentality. So, you know, I think a lot of people just give up. They don't want to be part of that game. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I think a lot of you can relate to me. I'm in IT. And I want to say, most of you here may be in IT. I don't want to stereotype it, but being in IT is very challenging. And one thing I do want to look at the positive side of, you know, I think Kiran, you mentioned an increasing percentage of women. I don't want to lose sight of the fact, at least, that we can celebrate. It's not going the other way. Right? So I think that we have to continue to look at the positive side of things. The percentages are increasing because the opportunities are increasing and more women are taking advantage of those opportunities in any which way that we can. Again, you know, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other experiences. So I just want to let you know, let's not forget the positive side of things.
Thank you. This is a question for myself, I think. Being a woman, do you think we have more challenges for than men? So what gives you strength to handle those challenges? You want to go on?
I think all of this we can relate to almost everything. Absolutely. I'm not sure if it's just, if we sometimes tend to draw you know, boundary among, and I call that, you know, drawing a boundary around our responsibilities, around our role, upon being a woman. There are absolutely some challenges because we are somewhat of perfectionists. I think I don't know most of us in this room, and I'm one of them that I had to grow out of being a perfectionist. So I think we take on a lot. We want to please everybody. We want to excel. We want to do everything right, and no matter what role we are on, a mother, a friend, you know, wife, no matter what, a colleague, right, and in the management as a leader. You feel responsible for the 50 people, 60 people that report up to you. You feel personally responsible. So you really want to excel in every role out there, and we set ourselves for failure when we set that very high expectation for ourselves. So I think we have to get to be more realistic. And those challenges, I don't think that exist just for Indian women. They exist for women across the board just because we're wired that way, right? Because we are brought up that way. We see our parents, our own mothers, right, excelling, and you say, okay, well, she's a role model, I want to be like her. But I think through the years, and I think Dr. Rama mentioned, it's evolved, right? The responsibilities that your parents used to have is very different than what you have today. It's evolved in the 10, 20 years. So I do believe it's challenging, but I think there are more support groups and there are more interactions among women that help each other to get through that. And I think you need to reach out and ask for help, like Dr. Meher mentioned here.
Thank you. So I asked my son this morning, and I said, what do you think, Ashwin? Do you think women have more challenges than men do? And he looked at me and he said, of course. And I said, really? Why? And he said, Amma, I don't care what your title is. You still have to take care of me. Yeah. That said, I think with Indian women, so our standards of good parenting or the role of a mother comes from your mother, your grandmother, and my mother didn't work, and my grandmother, she ran a joint family. We had about 40 people in the house, and she probably was better than any modern CEO. But they never worked outside the home. And so you try to be a superwoman. You try to do the best you can. You try and, I was ambitious, and I'm sure many of you are ambitious. You want to do well at whatever you want to do. But the minute you come home, nothing changes. And it's not that anybody expects it of you. You expect it of yourself. You want that hot meal on the table. You want, the beautiful house. And I think that's kind of where the stress begins to build up, is when you're trying to be all things to all people, and you're trying to live up to a set of metrics that's really humanly not possible. And yet many of us, I think that's the trap we fall into. To Indra's point of being perfectionists, somebody's always, their house is going to be better than yours, their food's going to be better than yours, their kid's going to achieve more than yours, somebody at work's going to get promoted before you. I think if you kind of anchor to a lot of those external metrics of success, that's where the issue comes in. And I think over time you begin to realize that your metrics for success and your happiness has to come from within. You have to stop comparing yourself to anyone else.
I just have a quick point to make. My husband hates when we come back home from dinner from people whose homes are spotless, because he knows he's in trouble. As soon as you get in the car, he used to say, "Don't talk to me about their house. It's okay." So I'm sure all of you experience that, but you have to be in reality. That load of laundry can stay. It does not, it doesn't matter. Go pick. Okay, so what? But it takes a lot of mental. I was a perfectionist, I'm still a perfectionist in same areas, but you have to pick your battles, right? You just have to do that, and every day you have to ground yourself thinking that.
Great. So this is another question. Were you ever discriminated for being a woman, and especially a minority woman? If yes, how did you handle that?
So the work that I do, over the years, I started in IT, probably like many of you, and then I moved to management. And the work that I do now, the company that I work for, it does leadership development. So we work with executives. We work with, we facilitate their strategy sessions. We do executive coaching, and it's a lot about chemistry. And sometimes you are accepted by the client and they want to work with you, and sometimes they want to work with somebody else. And it's very hard to know whether you get passed over or a request for somebody else because you're a woman and a minority, or if there's something else to it. So that's a filter that's almost always there. And the one thing that I've learned is not to dwell on it too much. Because invariably when somebody makes a choice, you don't always know why they're making that choice. And rather than kind of internalizing it and then killing yourself about, was it me? Was it something I said? Is it because I'm Indian? Is it because I'm a woman? Just acknowledge that they've made a choice and move on. And for me, the way I look at it, as long as it stays with my business, I'm fine. And actually the most obvious, I wouldn't even say discrimination, it's much more highlighting the fact that I was a woman was not in the US, it was in India. So probably about 10 years ago, I went to work with India with the board of directors of a company. And I had designed the entire session, and I had taken 4 men with me, 4 white men. And we all spoke, we all facilitated the session, and all of them got comments, and the one comment that I got was, she's not bad looking, I just wish she would smile more. So it was, you just take it in your stride. But again, this notion of discrimination, I think if you look for it, you'll probably find it. My advice is don't look for it. So just ignore it.
Yeah. I would say more than ignore. If you feel there's some internal characteristic that is coming in your way, I think you have to acknowledge it. Because I think if you don't acknowledge it and deal with it, and really, sometimes you have to face the fact, right? I mean, we all come from different upbringings, and I'm not even saying that it's just because I'm an Indian. You see that even within here, somebody coming from Tennessee, somebody coming from Texas. I mean, even within the US, there are people who are very uncomfortable in a metropolitan area like Chicago or LA. I mean, it scares them. I had a lot of college, when I did my master's here, and I had friends from Tennessee, Americans, and they were sometimes petrified, going to a larger city, and you would think that everybody here is self-confident. But we're all human, right? And you cannot forget that we're human before anything else, and we will all have some fears, and so if there is something that, you should acknowledge and take care of it, get a coach or a mentor who can actually be honest with you and provide constructive feedback that can actually get you to the next level. And I would say it's not totally ignoring it, but actually confronting it, acknowledging it, being honest that it is a problem that might be potentially getting in your way of where you want to go, and then again asking for help.
Okay, great. Now let's talk about your professional and personal life. How did you balance your professional life with your personal life? All of us here most of, as you said, are IT professionals. We have to manage both professional life and personal life, and sometimes I myself think, heck with this job and career, I want to stay home. Did you ever feel that way, and how did you overcome those kind of feelings?
I'm not sure I've really overcome, because I don't think you do. I have older children now, and you think, okay, as babies, I have the biggest problem in my life. Oh my God, they're crying, I have to change diapers, and I have sleepless nights. I want to tell all of you who have babies, you have the easiest life right now. But as they grow older, and I think they're my son and my daughter in a very mixed community. They have no Indian friends where we grew up, but they have the best friends from here. So they look at people as people, and I think we have a lot to learn from them. They don't look at color, they don't look at any of that. Are they good people? Can I get along with them? I think we have a lot to learn from them. And I think as I grew in my career in my company, and I was a developer. I was a very COBOL programmer. I still don't know why was that. But it's a logical thinking, and I really enjoyed it. It was new then. So then every 3-4 years I actually grew in the corporate ladder. And it was not because I was a developer for 3 years. It was because I was a developer for 3 years, and I learned the skill for the next level. And I didn't even know I was consciously doing this. So from a developer, I became a technical lead, and then at one point I had to choose from being a technical lead to being a manager or an individual contributor. I think all of you who are in IT might face that situation. Either you faced it or you're facing it now. But do I want to let go of what I can code? I want to see it, right? And as a manager, you're responsible for coaching, mentoring somebody else's life as a career. These people are making career decisions based on what you're telling them or you're coaching them. It's a huge responsibility. As a technical person, it's a code. I can fix it. It's an if statement. I can go delete it and it'll be fine tomorrow. So you're taking on different responsibilities as a manager, and as you grow in the leader, it's different responsibilities. So as I had when my children were little, I was in the technical path, and my boss came to me and said, you're done with technical path. I see a lot of soft skills in you that I think you can bring value to the organization more as a leader. There are other people who are competent enough to do the me to go to this path. It was scary for me because my children were little and being a manager meant more responsibilities. But I want to say that you don't do it alone. Definitely don't think you have to do it alone. You have a very good support structure. I would say my husband was a great support and continues to be a support as I do have ambition in my organization. I'm just picking and choosing when that happens. My in-laws, they came and stayed with me. They gave up a lot of things back home to come stay with me. I think it's odd to say you have the best in-laws, but I do. I do want to acknowledge them. But without them, I don't think my children would have had the support that they didn't get from me, my parents. And then one thing I want to also make sure that we're not very hard on ourselves. I think women are very hard on ourselves. We don't celebrate our achievements. And somebody came to my office, an Indian friend came to me crying. And she said, I want to become a manager next year. I don't know what to do. I have all these responsibilities. My son has music class, karate class, ballet class. My daughter goes to Bharatanatyam and Carnatic music. And I said, why don't you just take tonight, go home and write down everything that you have achieved. Doesn't matter if it's at work, at home, with your family, with your friends, go write down. And she came to me next day with a 5-page PowerPoint, just on her achievements. And she didn't realize that she was doing all this. She was focusing on what she was not doing. So I think I feel like, I have started learning to feel I want to achieve I want to celebrate my achievements. I don't want to boast. We all get very scared that we're boasting. We're not boasting. We're really celebrating that we are achieving a lot of things and we need to continue to focus on those while we continue to grow in areas that we're all passionate about. So our children learn from that, right? They're watching that we're juggling so many things. I think we actually can imbibe a lot of these things that we do to our children. And it's not just if you're working, if you're at home. I think everybody is influencing your children in a positive way. And it was hard. I won't say it was not hard. I dreaded the call from the daycare. Come and pick up your child now. In 24 hours they cannot even come back. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Right.
And it was very, very difficult.
And also you need to have a supportive boss, I think.
I had an excellent boss, and I'm not brown-nosing because they're not here. One thing that, thanks Kiran for reminding me, I was very fortunate in having a company that supported me. So there was a point when my son had a very severe allergic reaction to sulfur. His body was bloated up, and there was a major project going on. I just picked up the phone, told my boss, you're not going to see me for a couple of weeks. I don't know whether I'm going to come back at all. So don't even call me. And they didn't. And it was a very tough project, tough deadline. It was due, within the next day.
I think you would be surprised that bosses do listen to you.
And they're human, they have families.
Exactly.
And I actually went part-time. Right after that, I went 20 hours, and I don't even know how I would do anything in 20 now. But they allowed me to go 7 to 11 every day. I was to pick up my son, come home, take care of him until he was in first grade. Then I went 30 hours and 40 hours, and now I give my time to my company because, they supported me when I needed them.
You want to add anything, Ranjani?
Sure. I think in terms of work-life balance, the one thing that I've learned over the years is you can only do one thing well at any time. And I know all of women talk about multitasking, and yeah, we do. We talk on the phone. You're cooking. You're doing something else. But really, if you want to do something well, you can only do one thing well at any point in time. So when I was at work, I was only working. When I'm at home with the kids, that's it. It really helps, I think, with the focus. And the other thing around work-life balance that I can think of is there were lots and lots of times when it's like, is this even worth it? Why am I doing this? And I would fantasize about, going back and living in a village, and then I get real and say, come on, are you really going to go back and live in a village and be happy there? Probably for 5 days, and then be looking for something new to do. So, you do keep wondering, have I made the right choice? You're constantly trying to second guess yourself. And then there are other days when things go really well. You get an acknowledgement for something you've done well at work, or your kids come home with a good report card, or, somebody says something nice. And then you think, yeah, this is worth it. I can make it happen. So I think, to Indra's point, a supportive family is, for me at least, and I'm sure it's for many of you, it's
it's key. Having a supportive spouse, and it feels a little awkward because mine is standing in the back of the room. But, Sage was, the traditional roles of a man and a woman, to a large extent, blurred in our house. It became whoever came home first, would get the dinner going for the kids. Whoever has to do the laundry. Even till today, Sage does the laundry much better than I do, and he folds the clothes and puts it away, and you just get used to it. And you don't, earlier I used to beat myself up saying, oh my God, all my friends, they fold their own laundry, they even iron their clothes, and here my husband's ironing mine, and it's like, well, because I'm useless at it, so it's fine. I mean, you just have to learn to let go of some stuff and accept the help. And honestly, having a supportive spouse, I think, gives you the foundation and the courage to kind of, keep moving forward. Because at work, so much would happen that you have, you don't know how to do it. And some things are hard and some things aren't. But when you can come home and your spouse is always supportive of you, always encouraging you, that makes a huge difference.
Good trainer.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. The next question is, how does being a woman influence your career and decisions?
I think that's an easy one of all the other questions. I think I'm very proud to be a woman and what I bring to the table. I don't know if many of you might have gone for I think you're an HR person, the styles training, or where you're put together in a room and you're kind of building up your profile, and then you're coming up with, are you a doer, are you a controller? There are 4 styles, disc profile. What it really means is, it takes all sorts to make a team, right? I told my husband, thank God you didn't marry somebody like you, or I'm glad he's completely opposite of me. I'm a type A, always making lists. He's really scared to see a list anymore from me. A lot of people are list makers here, right? I wake up in the morning with a list, and there are days when I have to hold myself back not to give a list. But that's how some of us are wired, and he's laid back in a good way. He grounds me, he makes me think twice about the decisions I take instead of just jumping. So I think you have to recognize it takes all sorts. And all the dynamics of each person bringing to the table what you are. I think you have to definitely celebrate that you bring that to your team. And as a leader, I would rather have a manager come and challenge me, not look at that as a subordinate behavior or anything like that. It's respectful. And I've done the same thing. My boss is a very different, he's financial, he knows only numbers. And I'm the opposite. I'm a cost accountant. I hate to say that, but I don't care about numbers. I care about our customers. I'm in a healthcare business, CVS Caremark. We deliver prescriptions to our customers. So yeah, we can meet the budget, timeline, and all of that, but are we delivering the right prescription to the right people, right customers? Are they healthy, right? You have to keep your goal in mind. And I think as women, because we juggle so many challenges, I think we're very fortunate to have that competency in us, that we can see different angles, we see different perspectives, and I think we should definitely celebrate bringing that to the table no matter what you are, and be proud of it. I think it is a great thing that we are women.
Yep. Yeah, we are celebrating today.
I'm very happy to see this crowd here.
Ranjini, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think, the one thing that I found is women are naturally more collaborative. And you do bring a gentleness to the conversation. And even at work, what I found is, you're used to dealing with so many relationships in your life. You've got your kids, your husband, your in-laws. As a woman, you are pretty much the glue that holds all of these relationships together. And I think taking that into the workplace makes a tremendous difference. It has a more civilizing influence on all of the conversations that happen. And, when things get very heated, having a woman in the room helps bring a lot of that stuff down. I mean, there's genuinely a civilizing influence. And then I used to find the other thing too is that, the field that I'm in, there weren't too many men actually earlier on. and it was many more women. And then when, as you kind of move up, your female colleagues get less and less, and you have more male colleagues. And invariably what ends up happening is, one-on-one, even if they all don't get along with each other, they will all come and confide in you. And they look to you to be kind of the arbitrator, the facilitator of a lot of these things. And if you just think about it, that's probably what all of us do every day of our lives, right? Whether it's the your kids and the the play groups that you're trying to deal with, or whether it's the relationships or your friends. So I think from that perspective, and I'm thinking of it less in terms of a career choice and much more in terms of moving up the career ladder. I don't think none of us should ever forget that we have this innate strength in us, and to leverage that. Don't think of it as a weakness, but think of it as a strength that you can leverage. That to make this a better place for everyone.
Thank you. So this is our last question. So what advice can you give to women of TAGC who want to have a successful career? What 3 key attributes that are necessary for a woman of Indian origin to grow up in the corporate ladder? Just women or Indian women, I think.
So, the one thing that's really important is establish your brand. And when I say, it's your brand, it's get very clear on who you are. What's your purpose? What is it that you want to be known for? And that keeps evolving. It doesn't mean that you have to have clarity from day one. But, for myself, if I think about, when I first started my career, the one thing that I don't think I was even conscious of what my brand was. But the feedback that you get and the way you approach problems, I started noticing that I was probably, I brought in optimism. So it was a can-do spirit. And I don't think I even realized it at the time. But over the years, you begin to build a brand for yourself, as if there's an issue that nobody else can deal with, give it to Ranjani. She'll try and, she'll sort it out, she'll figure it out. So it's that sense of optimism, it's confidence, and it's integrity. Most of us, we come in with a very strong domain specialization, and you draw your identity from that. So whether it's programming or whether it's being a physician, but the brand is much more than that. It's who you are. It's your sense of purpose and your sense of style. So my encouragement to all of you is find your brand. Find your sense of purpose. If I just think, just looking at the room and looking at how everyone's dressed, I think Andhra women are some of the most beautifully dressed. You have a fabulous sense of style compared to, almost any of the Indian women. There's a charm, there's a grace, and bring that forward. Bring that into your professional life as well. It's the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you are with each other, the genuine diplomacy. And I think if you kind of, harnessed all of that into your personal brand, we'll go to corporate America one day. Thank you.
Yeah, just to extend what Ranjani said, I think we always come back. I've been told this by my coach and mentors, and you have to find those. They are out there. But basically, mine is passion and excellence. Right? Be passionate, and we are. We are already. How many people are passionate about something? Art, music, voluntary work. It doesn't really matter. But when you're passionate about something, even if it's a code. Believe me, I've been there, and you have this sense of ownership, right? All of you want to make it successful. When you code that program and you put it into production, you don't want defects. Why don't you want defects? Because it reflects on you. That kind of passion gets there, right? You're already manifesting something that's intrinsic to us ourselves. Excellence is another one. You want to, again, I want to distinguish between that and perfection. It's not perfection, it's a pride of ownership, having a passion, and one thing I want to make sure that we all do is have that identity, like Ranjani said, that problem solving, and go to Indra if there is a, how many of you have been told by your bosses, go to her, she'll figure it out, right? Go to her for the tough problems, that kind of reputation that you do. And one thing, be comfortable in your skin. And when I say skin, I don't mean brown, white, or, it's not that skin, but be comfortable. And if you're always looking for external factors to promote you or make you feel good, you're never going to be happy in it. You have to be true to yourself, and they call it true north. Find your gravity, find what makes you happy, and then I think you will really succeed, because then you're not fake. Right? I mean, I've been told, you don't play golf, you don't know anything about baseball, and you're always around men. And what do men talk about? Golf. I'm going to, this place to tea tomorrow, that's all they talk around me, and I have no clue. What a handicap, I'm kind of starting to learn. I'm learning only because I can make some kind of a healthy conversation. It's not because I want to go, go and brown nose them and start playing golf tomorrow. That's not my intention. I don't know, I have no clue about baseball. The first game that's out there, they're starting about baseball, I have no idea. But you know what, that's not my interest. I try to find those things that are interesting, that's common, and then get to the conversation that's more around that. And let's not try to be someone else. And it takes a long time for us to understand that corporate America is not golf. Absolutely you have to find ways to socialize with your peers, whether it's women or men in corporate world. And one of the things I'm sure that is people can already feel, they're inviting me for dinner tonight. I really don't want to go. I even today I feel that, but you have to compromise. It's not always going to work your way. Sometimes you may have to call your husband and say, can you pick up the kids? There's a dinner with some leaders. If you don't make an effort to go and socialize with the leaders in your own way, again, not in a fake way to make conversation, if you don't build that relationship and you're not hobnobbing with some of the leaders, they're not going to know you. So if you want to climb the corporate ladder, you have to do some compromises. You have to meet with some of the leaders, and also because you know how they behave. And what drives them is you really learn from some of these leaders.
Thank you so much, Indra.
Take questions from the audience. Do we have any questions?
It was a very interesting discussion. Thank you, Indra and Ranjani. I have a question. I mean, there are a lot of interesting factors.
Stand up.
I get nervous then.
Can I just get your name, please?
My name is Salila.
Hi, Salila.
And I'm one of those TAGC Andhra women. A lot of interesting points. Thank you very much for sharing today. And so there were a lot of questions, but the last one, what I heard from Indra, was the one which I wanted to actually talk about. Okay, corporate America is not golf, is what you said. Very interesting, very good to hear. But at the same time, in between your conversation, there was something like you got to be fortunate sometimes to move on in the corporate ladder. If you're not fortunate, then you will have to learn about golf and talk about golf to get to the position in the corporate America, is what I think. So what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think if you really want to learn about golf, you should. I'm just saying, don't stop yourself from learning what it takes. If you have to learn about golf because, let's say, 3 of your leaders only talk about golf, right? So if you feel like you're not fitting in there, but if you really want to, I haven't. And I have not had a problem going up the corporate ladder, right? I mean, I'm going to be a senior director soon, but every 3 or 4 years, I have focused on my career, I have focused on my work, I have focused on relationships. So you really have to think about what is triggering that. The golf is very, I would say, very transient. Like tomorrow you might find a boss, who likes bowling. So are you going to learn about bowling? No. So I think you really have to think about what is important to you and not peg yourself to someone right then and there. Because I haven't. I've had several bosses, I've moved different organizations, and I've never pegged myself with anybody. And because they've always, the reputation there is, she does great work, she gets along with everybody, she coaches very well, both upwards and downwards, and not because I've learned golf, or she doesn't do golf. So I just want to say golf is just an example.
I know. I just use
But I think I know what
example.
you're saying exactly.
A lot of times in typical corporate America, I don't think the work matters, but just the work doesn't do
Right.
it totally.
And so the
that's
way
a fact.
the way I compensate by that is I do go out for dinners. So a lot of us shy away from being around leaders and VPs, and we're very intimidated. But it's a very scary feeling, and even as a senior director, I'm still intimidated because you know what? I used to probably be invited for the dinners before with managers when I was technical. Then when I became a manager, now I'm being invited for dinners with VPs. Now it's senior vice presidents. I had dinner with the president of my company on Thursday night, literally sitting next to him. But he's such a friendly person. He just breaks down and makes you feel so comfortable. So I think you have to, again, if you bring your own, thoughts, they really respect you for that.
Right. We have to eventually break the barriers.
Correct.
Initially, you might have a difficulty to go for a dinner with your boss. Later on, you should break the barrier of going to drinks with the boss.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong in that, but it's a process of growth. In the sense
that's why I said it's, if you just say all the external factors have to go around me, I'm going to be what I am, that's not going to happen. I do go out for boss, anybody, my team, my boss, my leaders. I'm in one of the programs called Executive Committee Leaders of Tomorrow. There's only 26 of us from the entire company, and I'm the only person from IT. And I always remind them, hey, you're 25 people from the business groups, I'm the only one person from IT. And I go out for a couple of days with them, I do team building with them, but they look at me as a person, not an Indian, not a woman. It is there in the back of the mind, but you've got to break that silo down. You've got to break it. And don't think that, again, they are going to just do it because, you're 3 years now a manager, you're going to be a director. You're not. You've got to earn it, and not just you, anybody in that role has to earn it. How many of you have told your managers your performance review is bad, and you've got to do better, right? I mean, that's the reality. Nobody's going to promote you because you've been a manager for 3 years. But I truly appreciate, Salila, that, you're right, you have to compromise. You have to do what you have to do. If you have that vision of corporate ladder, then you have to compromise. But I don't, go out and say, okay, I'm a true vegetarian even till today. And they make fun of me when I go there. They say, hey, Indira is vegetarian, but behind the scene, they have made sure that I get my food. They've called ahead and made sure that I'm respected for my, they just say, oh, she, something, but they know that that I'm a true vegetarian, and they've already called ahead and said, we're coming to this restaurant, they've looked at the menu, there's 2 vegetarian dishes. Guess what? They have now compromised around me. And it's a mutual respect that we have for each other as you go up the ladder.
That's very good.
Does that make sense? I just
Yes,
want to make sure
it does. It does. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much, Indira and Rajni. It was a very interesting topic. My question is, in my professional life, I can have moved to my next level. So, of course, I love it and it's great, but the thing is, it comes with a lot of stress. And then I do a good job at my work, but then when I come home, I'm passing on that stress to my family, my husband, and kids. So I keep thinking, I keep going back and forth, is it worth it or not? Did you ever go through something like that? Is that normal?
If you didn't experience it, you wouldn't be normal. So let me ask you one question. In a day, how much time do you spend thinking about work?
Like during work or after work?
In a day. The entire day.
Just thinking, I would say a lot of things.
How much? About 70%, 80%? 80%. How much time do you spend thinking about your relationships? At work, at home? Or how much of your time is spent on that?
Relationships with like colleagues and
Colleagues, family, everyone.
I do think a lot about relationship with the kids now, but probably not so much about colleagues and that kind of relationship.
How much time do you spend thinking about you?
It's mostly self-criticism, like, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that.
So, you know, if you don't take care of yourself, what do you have left to give to relationships and to your work? So, you know, so it's taken me a while to realize that you have to set some time aside for yourself, and the self-doubt that you're talking about, get rid of it. It doesn't belong. For you, for who you are and what you've achieved, the stress comes in because there's the mismatch between metrics of success that you've set for yourself and the reality of your achievement. So, you know, to the point I think Indra was trying to make is, if you never stop to celebrate your own achievement, then, you know, it's like trying to swim with lead blocks around your feet. So take some time for yourself, celebrate your successes, and dump the stress.
Thank you. And I would say that many times I've almost, you know, quit my job mentally. But what makes us go back to work, right? There are some triggers in your life, whether it's money or people or, you know, just that you want to, you know, go somewhere. So you've really got to understand what's making you go to work the next day. If it's consistently making you feel uncomfortable to go to work, you're doing something wrong. But you have peaks and valleys, right? There are days when I really don't even know how to answer my phone. There are days when I'm like excited to go to work. Though you have to watch out for those signs where every day if you're going to work and you're unhappy, you've got to change your job. You've got to do something different, because it's happened to all of us. I'll tell you, my own husband, he used to come, you know, he used to literally come home and he'd say, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. And then he used to say that consistently for 5 days, and the 6th day he quit. You know why? Because it was impacting his health, right? So at the end of the day, you have to stay healthy for yourself, for your children, for everything else to come. And no job is worth that. And, you know, and there are days when I have actually switched off I call my boss and say, I'm going for a concert for my son, don't bother me for 2 hours. And guess what? All of you have laptops, right? So I have coached my manager. One of my managers, she's like always tied to her laptop. She's got 2 little kids. I've told her between the hours of 7 p.m. and 10, she cannot even open the laptop. And she said, but Indra, we have all these deadlines tomorrow. I said, deadlines will be there. They're not going tomorrow, it's this deadline. The day after day, that's some other deadline. How much are you going to keep up? But you have 2 little kids who need you, right? And you want to spend time with them. Close your laptop. And then she slowly learned that she doesn't have to be wired 24/7 to be successful. I think if you actually, it's more maturity if you show that you can balance, you know, do a little bit of both and work. You don't get appreciated because you killed yourself, because it doesn't benefit anybody, right? So I would say, look for warning signs where your job is not pleasing you, or look for warning signs when you're not spending enough time for yourself or with your children. That's not a good sign. And that's not how I got in the corporate ladder. I'm a Carnatic musician. I do volunteer work only because I get away from my work. And I'm successful because I come back healthy the next day and I'm not burnt out. So remember that any day, just go. I do 1 day volunteer work in a year. That's all day in the Chicago Public School painting. I'm the bad painter, but I go do it with 60 other people from my company only because it's a break from my life. And I tutor a kindergartner for half an hour every week. It's called Innovative for Learning. If anybody is interested, you should go look for it. These are inner cities children who don't know how to read. And I'm tutoring them for half an hour, and that's the best half an hour of my week, right? Because I'm talking to a kindergartner who can teach me a lot more than my corporate leaders. So I would say take time for yourself, and then bring reality into your perspective. The simple questions they ask, oh, I didn't think of it, right? So just start looking, or even like Ranjini said, start writing down how much time you're really spending for yourself and with your family, and then start tweaking it in such a way that it is actually healthy for you. Because if you're not healthy for you, you're not healthy for your company either. So.
Thank you so much.
Hi. I'm not in the corporate world. I'm just a housewife, not just a housewife, a housewife. I probably say that. But I just want to thank you for this wonderful conversation, because it not only builds your confidence in the corporate world, but in your personal life, how to enhance your human relationships, be it with your husband, your in-laws, or whatever it is. So, thank you so much for the wonderful conversation, because sometimes you can't realize your own power. You need people to show your power. So which gives us a lot of confidence. So because of this beautiful gathering and your conversations with such wonderful people like all the doctors, Dr. Rama, and both of you, thank you so much.
No
Serve them, because you don't need to learn anything, but sometimes a person's life becomes a great inspiration for other people, which changes your, probably your outlook of life in a different way. So thank you so much for this wonderful conversations and this. Thank you. And I personally thank TAGC for inviting such beautiful people to look within yourself. Thank you so much.
Thanks everybody. We are going to wrap up now. Thank you so much, Ranjini and Indra. It was great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Now I request Nandini Kondapalli and Sunita Mehta to honor the guest. Please.
I just wanted to say it's been a privilege sitting up here. It's felt a bit awkward sitting up here. I really wish we could have been in there and had more of a conversation. But thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
Yeah, and thank you very much. I was literally scared. Again, I'm human. Just because I'm an IT leader doesn't mean that I do this every day. I don't. But I just felt like God literally sent me here to relate to a lot of you here, and at the time that you have spent, I keep telling Ramesh, this is amazing what you've put together. Now my brain is already racing how to do this in other areas. You guys are wonderful. This is amazing. This is fantastic. So, thanks a lot for everything, and thanks Karen so much for inviting me.
Not color coordinate.
A small memento from TAGC. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies, to come here and sharing your thoughts with us. I think the women must have enjoyed it. Didn't you? Yes. And I want to especially say about the IT you were talking about. I used to work as IT Oracle developer 10 years ago. I think 11 years ago. And I know what you mean. And after 10 years, I was at home as a homemaker. And I got back into Oracle IT again. Not Oracle, but another subject. But I did work as a contract. And I think I'll be doing it. I really enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kiran, taking care of this. And now Sirisha Garbadi has something, so she wants to share with us.
Hi everybody. Actually, I just wanted to say a few words who made this happen, this event. All those people who helped with this event. I wanted to thank all of them. Actually, Ramesh, ఈ ఐడియా ఫ్లోట్ చేసినప్పుడు విమెన్స్ డే చేద్దాము అని Karnakar Madhavaram was the first person to come and say, okay, we support it, we'll help you with it. Then తర్వాత ఇది ఈ ఈవెంట్ ఇలా జరగడానికి హెల్ప్ చేసిన వాళ్ళని రికగ్నైజ్ చేయాలి. వీళ్ళు కొంతమంది ఉన్నారు, వీళ్ళు వచ్చి రమేష్ గారు మేము హెల్ప్ చేస్తాం మీకు, we will make this happen అని చెప్పారు. ఇంత సక్సెస్ఫుల్గా ఇలా చేయడానికి హెల్ప్ చేసిన వాళ్ళని మేము రికగ్నైజ్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నాము. I want Jyoti Madhavaram to come and give out a small memento for these volunteers.
Swathi Damaraju. Sunita Matta. Kiran Matte. Bhargavi Tattam. Vandana Reddy. Padma Madhireddy. Kiran Nuthalapati. Sujata Appalneni. Nandini Kondapalli. వీళ్ళందరూ ఎవ్రీ నైట్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఎవ్రీ అదర్ నైట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాల్ ఎక్కి ఇలా చేయాలి అలా చేయాలి అని ఐడియాస్ ఇచ్చి దీస్ ఆర్ ద పీపుల్ హూ వర్క్ ఇన్ ద బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ టు మేక్ దిస్ హ్యాపెన్ సో ఐ థ్యాంక్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దెమ్
మన కమ్యూనిటీ నుంచి ఎంటర్‌ప్రెన్యూర్స్ వచ్చారు. సో భార్గవి నెట్టం గారు వచ్చి సో షీ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు హ్యావ్ ఎ ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్ విత్ దెమ్.
I now take the honor of introducing a panel of distinguished speakers. All are small business women entrepreneurs, each from a different perspective. Joining our panel are Lakshmi Gade, Rama Lalita Bhagavatla, and Sirisha Karapati. Please join me in welcoming them. Lakshmi Gade is a daycare owner in Bolingbrook, Naperville area of Illinois. She's been operating this for the past 14 plus years, and she loves working with children. She has extensive experience working with children of all ages. She uses different methods, curriculum to provide early education to children of all ages. Lakshmi, along with her husband, has been operating a Kumon Center, a supplemental education center for preschool to high school children in Hinsdale, Illinois. They've been operating the Kumon Center successfully for almost 3 years. Rama Bhagavatla is a full-time housewife and a businesswoman in Naperville, Aurora area. A well-accomplished entrepreneur and relationship person inspired by Mary Kay, founded Saprama Boutique Incorporated in 2010. This boutique is a specialty business in Indian saris, handicraft items to support Indian weavers and cottage industry, which requires attention in India and abroad. She is also an independent beauty consultant with Mary Kay. She holds a master's degree in public administration from University of Madras, Chennai, and also a computer's diploma holder. She started her public career as a Maitri coordinator in TCS, a networking organization to support TCS spouses for faster settlement and supporting kids in various activities in the United States. Rama strongly believes in limitless potential women have and women can achieve their dreams with sincerity, dedication, and hard work. She supports women in business both in India and in Chicago area and collaborates with women entrepreneurs in her business. She actively volunteers in various organizations supporting local communities and creating awareness on people with special needs. Rama loves cooking, reading books, gardening, and listening to music. In her free time, she plays veena and sings Carnatic music. Sirisha Garapati is a director for Mighty Brain Toys and Robotic Adventures, in addition to being a senior software engineer in her full-time job. Sirisha founded Mighty Brain Toys in September 2011, a retail toy outlet in Visakhapatnam, India. She currently holds the position as director and is responsible for product development and creating brand awareness. She also founded Robotica Adventures in October 2012, which is an after-school training institute for kids ages 7+ in robotics field. Her vision for these kid-focused organizations is to help the children in need. She holds a master's degree in computer engineering from University of Illinois at Chicago, works as a senior software engineer at an online real estate search services provider. She actively volunteers in women empowerment organizations and Art of Living Foundation. She strongly believes life is sacred, celebrate life, care for others, and share whatever you have with those less fortunate than you. She loves reading books, and her favorite authors are Stephen Covey and Malcolm Gladwell, currently reading the Bhagavad Gita for Daily Living by Eknath Ishwar. So we welcome them all, and we're going to have a small panel discussion here which will benefit most of the women who are attending this conference here today. Let's find out how. లక్ష్మి గారు మీకు చాలా ఓపిక అండి. ఇంట్లో ఇద్దరు పిల్లల చేత హోంవర్క్ చేయించడం చాలా కష్టం కదా మనందరికీను. ఆవిడ డే కేర్ సెంటర్ రన్ చేస్తూ అందులో ప్రీ స్కూల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇప్పిస్తూ మళ్ళీ కుమాన్ సెంటర్లో అందరి చేత చాలా మ్యాథ్స్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ అండ్ రీడింగ్ అన్నీ చేపిస్తున్నారు. దట్ మీన్స్ యూ హ్యావ్ చాలా ఓపిక, ఎనర్జీ అండ్ పేషెన్స్, రైట్? సో ఈ ఓపిక ఓర్పుతో పాటు ఇంకేమేం కావాలండి ఈ డే కేర్ బిజినెస్ రన్ చేయాలంటే? లైక్ లైసెన్స్, పెట్టుబడి, అసిస్టెన్స్ ఆర్ ఎయిడ్స్, ఏమేం కావాలంటారు?
హలో, చాలా మంది నాకు చాలా ఓపిక అంటారండి. నా ఉద్దేశం ప్రకారం జాబ్ చేసే వాళ్ళకి చాలా ఓపిక ఉండాలి. బికాస్ నేను పిల్లలతో డీల్ చేస్తాను, మీరు బాస్తో డీల్ చేయాల్సి వస్తుంది. యూ నీడ్ మోర్ పేషెన్స్ కంపేర్ టు వాట్ ఐఎమ్ డూయింగ్, ఐ ఫీల్ అండ్ యాక్చువల్లీ నేను డే కేర్ ఎలా స్టార్ట్ చేశానంటే, ఇనీషియల్గా నేను 98లో వచ్చినప్పుడు నాది MBA అనమాట బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్. యాక్చువల్లీ ఈవెన్ నౌ ఐ థింక్ వాట్ ఐ స్టడీ, వాట్ ఐమ్ డూయింగ్, ఇట్స్ టోటలీ డిఫరెంట్ ఫీల్డ్. ఒక రీజన్ ఏంటంటే, నేను వచ్చినప్పుడు ఐఎమ్ ఆన్ డిపెండెంట్ వీసా. ఇంకొకటి ఏంటంటే, మేము అపార్ట్మెంట్లో ఉండేవాళ్ళము. నాకు మా హస్బెండ్ ఏం చెప్పారంటే, ఏమైనా సరే తలుపు తెరవదు, ఎందుకంటే నేను కీస్ మర్చిపోయావంటే ఇక అప్పుడు గర్నీ మెస్లో పనిచేసేవాడిని. అక్కడి నుంచి ఇక్కడికి డ్రైవ్ చేయాల్సి వచ్చేది, నువ్వు అందుకే తలుపు తెరవద్దని చెప్పేవాళ్ళు. అయితే టీవీ చూసేదాన్ని. ఐ ఫీల్ సో బోర్డ్, ఐ వాంట్ టు వర్క్. బట్ వన్ కండిషన్ ఫర్ హిమ్ ఇస్, he doesn't want to travel. నేను ట్రావెల్ చేయడం నాకు ఇష్టం లేదు. ఆయన ఉద్దేశం ప్రకారము ఇద్దరు పెళ్లి చేసుకొని నువ్వు అక్కడ నేను ఇక్కడ ఉంటే పెళ్లి చేసుకోవడం ఎందుకని ఆయన రీజన్. ఐ డోంట్ నో వై, బట్ అలా ఉండేది. తర్వాత నాకు ఏంటంటే ఇంకా ఐ ఫెల్ట్ బోర్డ్ అండ్ ఐ ఫీల్ లైక్ గోయింగ్ బ్యాక్ టు ఇండియా. Then one hope is that I really thank my friend too. At that time, I used to have a friend in the apartment lo undedi. Valla paapa nato ఆడుకోవడానికి వచ్చేది. She used to be a housewife too, but she's searching for jobs. Paapa 4 years అలా ఉండేది. తర్వాత నేను తను వచ్చేది, నాకు ఏంటంటే జస్ట్ ఐ వాంట్ టు స్పెండ్ మై టైం.
అంటే బోర్నెస్ తీసేయడానికి అదొక నాకు ఒక వెపన్ లాగా అనిపించింది అనమాట. తర్వాత నాకు తన ఇంటి జాబ్ వచ్చిన తర్వాత తనని ఈ పాపని ఇంకా కంఫర్టబుల్ గా ఉంది కదా, వై డోంట్ యూ టేక్ కేర్ ఆఫ్ హర్. సో ఐ టోల్డ్ లైక్ ఐ డోంట్ నో ఎనీథింగ్ అబౌట్ కిడ్స్, ఐ డోంట్ ఈవెన్ హ్యావ్ కిడ్స్ అట్ ద టైమ్. సో నేను చెప్పాను నాకు కిడ్స్ తోటి ఏమీ లేదండి, అసలు రేపు పొద్దున ఏమైనా వచ్చిందంటే మళ్ళీ నా మీదకి వస్తుందేమో, నేను ముందే చెప్తున్నాను అండ్ అంటే వై డోంట్ యూ ట్రై ఫర్ అ వీక్ అని. సరే అని నేను యాక్చువల్లీ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ అన్నది ఐ థింక్ $30 కాయిన్స్ తీసుకొచ్చాను నేను. అండ్ ఐ కీప్ ఎంటర్టైనింగ్ హర్ అండ్ లైక్ బ్రేక్ డౌన్ అంటే యాక్చువల్లీ విత్ ఇన్ 1 month అండి, 1 month లో బ్రేక్ డౌన్ అయిపోయింది. అండ్ ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ వి బాట్ అ హౌస్, వి మూవ్ టు స్ట్రీమ్వుడ్ అండ్ దెన్ ఐ యూస్ టు గెట్ ప్రెఫరెన్స్ వల్ల 3 kids అలా వచ్చారు. Then I am eligible to do 3 kids anamata without license. After that then my husband annaru inkenduku neeku pillalu baga ishtanga undi, you are enjoying your job, why don't you continue taking. Then I applied for license and I got 8 kids anamata. Then tarvata ma babu preschool velladam start chesin daggara nunchi నేను ఏంటంటే స్కూల్ డ్రాప్ పికప్ ప్రాబ్లం అయి ఉండేది, ప్రాబ్లం అవుతుంది అనమాట. అందుకే అసిస్టెంట్ హైర్ చేసుకుని గ్రూప్ టేకర్కి వెళ్ళాను. ఇప్పుడు నేను 16 kids ని మేనేజ్ చేస్తున్నాను విత్ అసిస్టెంట్స్.
లైసెన్స్ టేక్ కేర్ రన్ చేయాలంటే మినిమం ఎడ్యుకేషన్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఉందండి. డూ యూ హ్యావ్ టు హోల్డ్ అ సర్టిఫికేట్ ఆర్ అ డిగ్రీ?
దెర్ ఈస్ నో నీడ్ ఫర్ డిగ్రీ అండి, ఓన్లీ హై స్కూల్ డిప్లొమా ఉంటే చాలు. యా, ఓన్లీ యూ నీడ్ టు హ్యావ్ CPR and first aid certified. And if you have to go for a group daycare, you need to have 6 to 8 credit hours college of.
So ఎంతమంది పిల్లలు రెస్ట్రిక్షన్ ఏమైనా ఉందా? Like one person?
Yeah, one person ki including your kids it's 8 అండి, but if with assistance you can go until 16.
So coming to Kumon Center, you have a franchise, right?
Yeah.
So US లో దాదాపు 1500 Kumon centers ఉన్నాయి. అందులో only 30 of them are run by the original Kumon group. The rest of them are run by the franchisees. So ఈ Kumon Center franchise తీసుకోవాలంటే ఏం కావాలండి? అంటే స్టార్ట్అప్ లైసెన్స్ అండ్ స్టార్ట్అప్ కాస్ట్, ఆన్గోయింగ్ ఫీస్ లాంటివి.
యాక్చువల్లీ నేను ఇద్దరం చేసే బిజినెస్ అన్ని maximum weekly I spend 20 hours and నేను మా హస్బెండ్ కలిసి వీక్ నేను 10 hours స్పెండ్ చేస్తాను కుమార్లో, ఈయన 15 hours స్పెండ్ చేస్తాను. కాబట్టి 20-25 hours స్పెండ్ చేస్తాము. దీనికి క్వాలిఫికేషన్ వచ్చి 10th and 12th grade మ్యాథ్స్ అండ్ రీడింగ్ చెప్పగలుగుతారు. సో మేబీ MSc BSc డిగ్రీ క్వాలిఫైడ్ అంటే వాళ్ళు ఎగ్జామ్స్ పెడతారు మ్యాథ్ అండ్ రీడింగ్లో, యూ హ్యావ్ టు పాస్. Then 6 months of training, then you can open a Kumon center. Maybe 6 months to 1 year పడుతుంది. మాకైతే బ్రేక్ ఈవెన్ అవ్వడానికి 6 months పట్టిందండి. యా,
అంటే ఎంతమంది స్టూడెంట్స్ కావాలి?
100 kids ఉండాలి. యా.
సో మినిమం ఎన్ని ఇయర్స్ కాంట్రాక్ట్ సైన్ అప్ చేయాలి కుమార్ వాళ్ళకి?
అంటే డిపెండ్స్ అపాన్ ద ఓనర్ అండి, వాళ్ళు కుమార్ వాళ్ళు ఏం రిస్ట్రిక్ట్ చేయరు. మేబీ మేమైతే 1 year పెడతాం.
ఈ కుమార్ సెంటర్ బిజినెస్ లో ఏమైనా ఇబ్బందులు ఎదుర్కొన్నారా మీరు? అంటే ఇంకా ఏమైనా ఇబ్బందులు ఎదుర్కొంటున్నారా?
ఇబ్బందులు అంటే అసిస్టెంట్స్ వస్తామంటారు, రాదు, అదొక ఇబ్బందులు అండి. దెన్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎ స్కేర్ లైక్ 3 years 5 years కాంట్రాక్ట్ సైన్ చేస్తారు కదా మీరు ఒక కుమార్ రూమ్ తీసుకోవాలంటే. దెన్ యూ ఆర్ స్కేర్డ్ లైక్ ఇఫ్ వాట్ ఇఫ్ ద కుమార్ సెంటర్ డజంట్ వర్క్, యూ హ్యావ్ టు పే మంత్లీ రెంట్. So that's the risk. And Kumon Center 40 to 60,000 initial investment andi, and that's the risk. And ibbandulu ante I can say that's the only thing. Risk wise.
So 40 to 60,000 investment చేసిన తర్వాత ఎన్ని ఇయర్స్ పడుతుంది బ్రేక్ ఈవెన్ అవ్వడానికి?
బ్రేక్ ఈవెన్ అంటే మాకైతే 6 to 8 months పట్టిందండి. యా.
సో అంటే ఇప్పుడు వీళ్ళలో ఎవరికైనా ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉందనుకోండి, సే దే కెన్ డూ వన్ ఆఫ్ దీస్ లైక్ టేక్ కేర్ కానీ కుమార్ సెంటర్ కానీ, అండ్ సే దే డోంట్ హ్యావ్ help from their spouses unlike you.
Yeah.
So can they still go ahead and do it?
Yeah, they can do it.
but the only thing is you need to believe yourself. Like, you know, like you feel like, oh my God, there's so many kids there. Like, you know, you feel like sometimes, you know, sometimes down. But you know, the kids, they smile you up. You know, నాకు రోజులో ఒక రోజు బాగా అలసిపోయి ఉంటారు. కానీ ఒక పాప ఏంటంటే క్రాల్ చేస్తూ ఉంటుంది, నడుస్తూ ఉంటుంది. We feel excited in our job, you know. So you don't feel scared. I feel, you know.
Right. So when the kids are progressing with their milestones, it makes you happy, right?
Yeah. So they smile and everything. They make your life happy.
So ఈ రెండిట్లో ఏ బిజినెస్ మీకు బెటర్ అనిపిస్తుంది, ఈజీగా అనిపిస్తుంది, ఎవరైనా స్టార్ట్అప్ చేయాలంటే?
యాక్చువల్లీ బిజినెస్ వైజ్ అయితే నేను రెండు చూసానండి స్టార్టింగ్లో వచ్చినప్పుడు. ఇఫ్ యూ పుట్ ఇన్ నెసెసిటీ ద బిజినెస్ ఇట్ విల్ వర్క్. సమ్టైమ్స్ ఇట్ విల్ ఫెయిల్, బట్ ఇన్ రేర్ కేసెస్. లైక్ గ్యాస్ ఇండస్ట్రీ చూసుకోండి, ఫుడ్ ఇండస్ట్రీ చూసుకోండి, డే కేర్ ఇండస్ట్రీ చూసుకోండి. ఈవెన్ కుమాన్ ఇట్స్ లైక్ యునో ఇట్స్ లైక్ సప్లిమెంట్ ఫర్ యువర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ కదా, ఇట్ విల్ రన్. సో నా ఉద్దేశం ప్రకారము రెండు ఇంపార్టెంట్.
వీళ్ళకి ఏమైనా టేక్ హోమ్ మెసేజ్ ఇస్తారా?
Lots of housewives, you know, you feel like, you know, I don't want to leave kids and go somewhere and work. Initially, I used to feel like, you know, I was scared of driving. Initially in Chicago, I was so scared. I just don't want to go out of home. Yeah, so, you know, you want to do anything. Like, you know, you just want to be with kids and do something for yourself. You want to be independent. I feel like go ahead and do daycare or Kumon, whatever you feel comfortable. And the other thing is, if you have, you know, for daycare, you need to have patience and safety. Both are important. For Kumon, you need to have a little bit of patience, but not compared to daycare, because you know your strengths. You think about yourself and see which one is your strength. You feel like I'm patient and I can do it, go ahead for daycare. And if you feel like, you know, no, I'm not patient with the kids, you know, I'm scared and everything, go ahead and do Kumon. So both of them, you can be with your kids and you can do it. Yes.
Thanks, Andy. Rama garu, you own a boutique and also an independent consultant with Mary Kay, right? ఎలాంటి లైసెన్సింగ్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్ కావాలండి ఇండియాలో కానీ ఇక్కడ కానీ టు ఇంపోర్ట్ అండ్ సెల్ యువర్ ప్రొడక్ట్స్?
యాక్చువల్గా టు స్టార్ట్ బుటీక్ లైక్ దిస్ వి నీడ్, అంటే నేను రిజిస్టర్ చేసి ఐఎమ్ ఇన్కార్పొరేట్ కంపెనీ అనమాట. I try to go on the more regulatory method in the sense because I deal mostly with specialty silk sarees, but there might be some import regulations, and to be on the safer side, I registered my business. And register cheyalante, you can go into www.smallbusiness.gov and they have like a 10-step process anamata. And just go register your business. Register cheskunte, it is much more easier to run the business with more confidence, and you don't have to worry about your shipments getting locked up. So you are avoiding that risk anamata, and it's much more safer. And India lonche actually cheyadaniki we don't have to have any licenses from India, but to run the business here in the US you need to have a state license, and where you'll end up paying your state and county taxes as well. And I feel it's better to do it that way because you are not questioned in the process of your business. So
ఒక చిన్న రిక్వెస్ట్ అండి ఆడియన్స్కి, ఇక్కడున్న విమెన్ చాలా ఎంతజియాజంతో చాలా ఓపిక టైం చేసుకొని వచ్చారు. దే రియల్లీ వాంట్ టు ఇన్స్పైర్ అట్లీస్ట్ వన్ అమాంగ్స్ట్ us to become successful in their life. సో కొంతమంది నిజంగా చాలా కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్తో ఫోకస్డ్గా ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళకి ఇబ్బంది కలగకుండా మిగతా వాళ్ళు మాట్లాడకుండా ఉండాలి దయచేసి, ప్లీజ్. ఓకే, సారీ అండి రమ్మ గారు. సో మీరు మీ ప్రోడక్ట్ ఎలా తీసుకొస్తారు? డూ యూ వర్క్ విత్ రీసెల్లర్స్?
నేను వచ్చి యాక్చువల్గా ఐ స్టార్టెడ్ ద బిజినెస్ మెయిన్లీ విత్ ఇంటెన్షన్ ఆఫ్ సపోర్టింగ్ ద వీవర్స్ అండి. And first of all, me starting the business itself was purely by accident, and I never had an intention to do something like this. It was just, I would say it was just a miracle, and I think I just felt my God's talk with me, and I said I have to take this opportunity and start going. Whether I fail or succeed, I'm just going to do it.
So with that intention, I just got into it, and I think I'm just all over the place now. It has taken me in so many different directions, and it was just an accident, meaning I just had a friend come in from India 3 years ago, and then they came with 6 saris in his suitcase. You know, I have the habit of having people over, and I make them stay at my place. I want to be a wonderful host and things like that. I always enjoy people at home. So he said, why don't you just, show these saris to your friends and see what they say. And I just showed them, and there was a very good response. And I said, okay, you know what? I think the pressure is on me. I need to get some more, and things like that. And it just slowly grew up to about 19 saris in my dining table. That was the business I started with. And I still run the business from home. And then when I was exploring all those possibilities, I said silks is something, a specialty item which I need to look into. And then I started exploring on the weavers. And the handloom weavers are the ones which are my priority. I want to bring up their lives and make some subtle changes which I can, and that's what I focus on. And it started with silk weaving industry, and now I'm spreading my wings towards anything related to handloom, and slowly I spread my areas towards cottage industries. And then I also source lots of handicraft items made by special needs children back in India, and I send back the money to charity for them. And so that's how my business has grown, and I wish I can spread even more.
Very noble, Nandi. Roughly how much investment is required in a small scale business structure? Boutique open.
Any business, it does require some investment. See, I think my investment in the business when I started, it was just about $1,000. It was just 1,000, and I was so hesitant to ask that money from my husband. I said, it's $1,000. Are you prepared to give me? Are you prepared to give me? How are we going to handle this? It was so scary at that point of time, because I've never had the habit of handling money, because he always took care of it. Because it's not that he didn't know that, he didn't have the confidence in me, but I just let it go. I never bothered to pay attention to those details. So now it's about 3 years in business. It's pretty reasonable, yeah.
Income potential amount.
Income potential, I would say within 3 years you can easily do a break even. But again, it all depends upon how you want to sell your products. I try to keep the margins low, because my basic goal is to bring in the weavers. So my goal is to do volume sales and just get it going. That's it. So as long as my taxes and things are covered, that's where I look.
Me profile of Susintrata, I like your belief that women have great potential to achieve a lot of things. What would you like to tell our women the benefits of owning a small business?
The benefits are 1,000-fold, I would say. It is a lot of struggle. I know it's not easy to run a business on your own, especially from home, where you have the family sitting right in front of you all the time, and you need to take care of them. But it needs a lot of faith, courage, and commitment. If you are able to put in all those 3, I think you can be successful. And there are so many monetary benefits as well. In these days where the situations are so uncertain, I think women have to be prepared. We will have to face a society some point or the other on our own. So I think you don't have to be great to do something. You can do something to become great. That's what I believe in. And especially doing a business like this on your own, I think the financial benefits, you can start planning on your retirements. Tell me how many women are thinking about their retirements now. Nobody would want to even think about it. But I think when you start doing something on your own, when you start making your own money out of your own hard work, I think that is the time when you start thinking, hey, you know what, I think I need to set aside something for myself. Something you can contribute for your children from your own hard-earned money. That's what is going to make them feel happy. I know we all come up from very cultured families and stuff, but still, something from your own pocket, if you give your children, I think it makes your day. I believe in that, and I just want to see that day happen.
Nicely conveyed message, Andy. Thank you. Sirisha Garu, I know you're a full-time senior computer engineer. You're very busy like a lot of IT professionals here, but you still ended up doing something different in your life. How did your journey start in the small business industry?
I think the stars lined up. I'm just kidding. The start of my journey, there are so many things happened at the time. I was rooted with the right people. I think at my work, we were trying to do some kind of women empowerment program. And me and my friend at work, మేము ఒక సౌత్ సైడ్లో ఒక ఉమెన్ ఎంపవర్మెంట్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ మిడిల్ ఈస్టర్న్ ఉమెన్ కోసం అని చెప్పి స్టార్ట్ చేసామన్నమాట. సో వీ ట్రై టు ask people for money for donations, and we used to do so many events to generate money. At some point, even my friend had to give up her job. She was doing part-time even though she was a single mom. And we thought, you know what, there should be something to generate revenue in order to support these organizations. So at some point, after 6 months, we had to close the organization, and we felt helpless because there are so many women who are struggling, and they had their own kids. They want to send their kids to school, and they were struggling for that too. And that's when I thought, maybe I should do something about it. Not just think and think that's the past and leave it, but just do something about it. And as Indira Kaushik, I'm not sure if she's here or not, but she said watch for the signs. And the second thing that happened at the time was I was into reading magazines, books, and I think at that time I was too much glued with Oprah Winfrey, and then she was doing an episode about midlife crisis. And I was pretty hooked onto it, and then I kept thinking about myself. What am I going to do in midlife? And then, there was an episode with Deepak Chopra. He was telling, you need to find your passion. So I think it was it all happened between July 2010 to October 2010. And then in November, I think there was a Thanksgiving break, and I started thinking, what is my passion? What exactly I want to do? So I wrote it down on a sheet of paper, and I said, is it money? Is it fame? Or is it happiness? So finally it came down to happiness. And what makes me happy? Helping out people, that was one thing which really made me happy. So I thought, okay, what should I do now? So I kept on thinking, and then suddenly the thought of the toy store and toys and kids, because I was thinking more about helping kids, and then it suddenly crossed my mind. And I shared it with my brother in India, and then he said, you know what, I don't think whatever you do and whatever you're trying to do for the future, those are two completely different things. I'm not sure if you really thought about it. So I said, okay, let me do my research. And without even knowing anything about it, I started writing a business plan. And there are very good sites like score.org where you can jot down, there are templates where you can jot down the business plan. And that's when I started visiting all the toy stores. And then that's how I figured out there is a way where I could get hold of the information. And that's how I started my journey actually. It's because somehow helping out the kids and toys synced so much in my brain. So So I thought it's a toy store. And also I thought, like, you know, if the kids are given the choice, like, you know, that's a learning enhancement as well. If they learn, like, you know, if we give them the opportunity to learn, even the less fortunate kids, then they would, like, you know, go far beyond and, like, you know, achieve a lot of things, and so they don't need our support anymore. That's the whole thing that was going on in my brain at that point.
ఇంకొక క్వశ్చన్ అండి, ఇండియాలో బిజినెస్ స్టార్ట్ చేయడానికి మీకు ఇంకొక వేరే ఉద్దేశం ఏమైనా ఉందా?
ఉందండి. అది actually, like, you know, we wanted to move back to India because at some point we thought, like, we have to take care of our aging parents. That even when I came to this country, that was the thing that was in my mind, and even my husband told me that, like, you know what, I do want to take care of my parents when they're old. I don't want them to relocate here. So that was the first question, like, he asked me, would you be, like, before even marrying me, like, that was the first question he asked me, would you be willing to move back? And I said, look, I don't know, like, you know, how it's going to be there, because I was in India, I was doing my engineering there. And I was, like, not sure at that time, but then once I came here, I also felt the same, like, you know, going back and, like, you know, doing something. So that was one of the reasons I thought, like, you know, in the midlife, going back to the midlife crisis, in the midlife I'm going to be in India, so I want to do something in India.
Alright, so this is something which women who really want to go back to India can consider, right? Start something in India and then make a slow progression towards going to India. ఇప్పుడు మీ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ ఎక్కడి నుంచి ఇంపోర్ట్ చేస్తారండి ఇండియాకి?
So after my thought with the toy store started, like, I started to research about it, and then I figured out I mean, like, you know, whenever you see the toys here, everything is made in China. I mean, it might be Legos, it might be Disney, or it might be an Apple, like, you know, your phone too, it's assembled in China. So China is the hub for the toys. I mean, that's a hub for the manufacturing industry. So when I got this idea in November 2010, then, like, you know, I was looking for something, like, immediate. What can I do immediately so the thought won't die inside me? I really want to, like, see some action coming. So that's when, like, you know, I figured out that there was, like, this huge toys fair. That's Asia's biggest toys fair that goes, like, every year in Hong Kong. And that's when I visited Hong Kong, and luckily I was able to meet, like, the CEO. I ran into the CEO of Legos and Jack Specific, who brands, like, you know, Disney and Mattel and all of those toys. So I really sat with them. Like, I got an opportunity. I haven't expected that, but then I got an opportunity to talk to them and see how the future of the toys and industry in India is going to be, and that's when I decided. So mostly, like, you know, to your answer to your question, like, you know, it's Hong Kong. I mean, that's the hub. Like, you know, they get the toys from different parts of China.
సో మీరు ఇంత డైనమిక్ బిజినెస్లో ఉన్నారు అండ్ ఫ్రీక్వెంట్గా ఇంటర్నేషనల్ ట్రావెలింగ్ అది చేస్తున్నారు కదా, మొదట్లో మీకు ఏమైనా, లైక్, ఇన్నర్ ఫియర్స్, ఇన్హిబిషన్స్ ఉండేవా? ఉంటే ఎలా ఓవర్కమ్ అయ్యారు?
Of course, like, ante idi నాకు తెలియని బిజినెస్, నేను దీంట్లో చేతులు పెడతాను, and I really wanted to go up because there is something that I really want to, like, do, like, to help out the kids in need ane motive తో చేస్తున్నాను. కాబట్టి నాకు చాలా ఇన్హిబిషన్స్, ఫియర్స్ ఉన్నాయి. కాకపోతే whatever you resist, it persists అంటారు. So అందుకనే, like, you know, ఎప్పుడు ఆ థాట్ నేను రెసిస్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉన్నాను. So I was like, okay, let me do it, like, you know, let me go. And I immediately made a trip to Hong Kong, which my brother was supposed to come with me, and then, like, he said, like, at last minute he had to cancel, and I was like, okay, like, you know, ఈ ప్లేస్కి, నాకు తెలియని ప్లేస్కి నేను వెళ్తున్నాను, అసలు ఏంటి, like, you know, I don't even know anything, like, you know, అనే ఫియర్, అసలు ఒకసారి ట్రిప్ని క్యాన్సిల్ చేసేసి హోల్ ఐడియాని క్యాన్సిల్ చేసేసుకున్నాం. ఇట్స్ ఓకే, ఐఎమ్ హ్యాపీ ఇన్ మై లైఫ్, ఐఎమ్ సాటిస్ఫైడ్ ఇన్ మై లైఫ్, వాట్ ఎల్స్ డూ ఐ నీడ్ అనేది ఎప్పుడు ఆ క్వశ్చన్ ఎప్పుడు వస్తుండేదన్నమాట. బట్ దెన్ ఐ థాట్, like, you know, for one small step at a time, like, you know, let me write down what exactly I have to do అని చెప్పి రాసి, ఫస్ట్ థింగ్ నేను వెళ్తే కానీ నాకు అసలు ఏంటి ఇండస్ట్రీ గురించి తెలియదు, సో లెట్ మీ గో అని చెప్పి చాలా ధైర్యంగానే చెప్పాలంటే ఫస్ట్ ఆ ఫియర్ని ఓవర్కమ్ అయ్యానమాట. And one thing I could tell everybody is like, fear is natural, but like, you have to, the only way to overcome it is to face it. Like, go there, do it. If you do it, that's when you can overcome the fear. So it's like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So that's what, like, and koncham aa fear ni matram, like, everybody has that fear in their brain. So it's just do it. That's what I would say.
Nice message, Andy. మీరు చేస్తున్న టైప్ ఆఫ్ బిజినెస్కి పెట్టుబడి ఏ రేంజ్లో ఉంటుంది అండ్ ఎంత టైం పడుతుంది బ్రేక్ అవ్వడానికి అండ్ అడ్వర్టైజింగ్ ఎలా చేస్తున్నారు?
So toy stores and different types of toy stores ఉంటాయండి. Like I wanted it to be a neighborhood toy store, like where the kids know what they can find. It's not like a huge one like Toys R Us. So it's basically a 1,500 square foot store, but like, I really wanted to provide education toys for kids, where the kids can grow with the toys, like, with the toys. So nenu chese dantlo, like, because it's a branded store, and in India mostly, like, you would see mostly like the toys from China which are unbranded, and people prefer to buy them because they are a little bit like, money conscious, and they don't want to like spend money on branded things. So but branded is pretty safe because they go through all of, there is a reason why these toys are like, highly priced, because they have to go through all of the standards, and I did go through some of the standards, and what would you say, like all the meetings and like, conversations with like, different people from England and US. So basically, like, for that kind of a toy store, like for branded toy store, you need at least like 8, and because I started it in India, I wanted to put it in Indian currency. It's like 80,000 to 1 crore, 80 lakhs to 1 crore investment untundandi. So break even avutaki, it all depends upon the economy. Right now the economy isn't doing that great. Like we thought we are going to break even in a year, but it might take 1 more year to get that break even.
Okay, thanks, Andy. And thank you all for sharing your experiences and your utmost thoughts with us. This is an opportunity for the audience to ask any questions to the panel.
We'll just take one question because we are out of time.
My question is to Rama Garu. I really appreciate what you're doing. It's because we see every day in newspapers about weavers and their hardships. What kind of marketing strategy are you taking? How is it, because we don't know how is it helping weavers in India, right? Whenever we want to buy a sari, you actually don't look how is it benefiting the people who are actually doing it, right? What kind of marketing strategy are you following, and how are you letting the people in US know that you are giving back to those weavers?
I directly work with the families, so I know exactly what their needs are, and most of the time it is the financial needs. So whatever the purchases I make, it is from them. So there is no middleman involved in there. And then here I try to educate the people, like whenever the customers come in, I try to give them as much details as I can about the products and how it is made and what are the constraints, those explanations I try to offer more on a one-on-one basis. And then here I try to market more in the form of holding monthly exhibits at home, focusing on any festivals. And right now the current scenario is that they are all going through so much of power issues, and the looms, they don't work, so they are on generators. So I'm trying to, the cost of silk has substantially increased since the time we started the business. So I'm sure my customers would still see a price rise in my inventory. But the fact is that the government doesn't support the cost for buying generators for the weavers. So they are trying to include that in the cost of the material. So that is why the price increase happens, and I think just by purchasing the products, we are directly supporting them. That is my firm belief. And because I talk to them on a day in and day out basis, I know exactly what is going on. So, and I slowly begin to see that a lot of people, a lot of women are getting interested in what I'm doing, and I just want to encourage them to support them by, just spreading the word. So currently that's what I'm doing in a smaller scale.
The speakers are willing to take the questions during dinner break. You could feel free to come forward and talk to them. And thank you all for taking time to come here to share so much information about small business industry and encouraging our women to explore their interests and options to start and pursue careers in small business industry.
Hello, thanks TAGC members andi. Actually, ఈ opportunity నాకు మాలతి అడిగినప్పుడు actually I'm very thankful for them because of identifying me as a small business owner and giving me the opportunity to say what I'm doing. Thanks, Adi. Thanks.
We now honor the guests. We've got Malti Damaraju. Lakshmi Gandhi. Sujata Avalani. Kiran Mutulapati. We can have questions at dinner break time, though you can discuss with them only.
We need a lot of support from the sponsors. One of the sponsors is here. She wants to share something. Please kindly follow her. Thank you. Bharat Rameswaram. New York Life is a sponsor for this event, and she has a few words to say. Bharati Rameshwaram will take her.
Thank you, Andy. Andaru opika kunchoni anni vinnaru, and I'm not going to take too much of time. I'm just going to talk for 2 minutes, and that's all. And na peru Bharati Rameshwaram andi. I'm a recruiter for it. And what that means is I recruit agents, and నేను 2 years agent గా పనిచేశానండి న్యూయార్క్ లైఫ్ కి, and then I found out that we don't have women agents, and then I asked my boss what happened, and he said like, I don't know what happened because nobody talks about women agents. And then I said like, I want to be that. I want to introduce to my community, especially Andhra community. I want them to be introduced that there is opportunity, career opportunity with New York Life. And ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే all we are looking is the women who want to try, are willing to try new things, and then with zero investments. There is no investments, everything is covered with New York Life. All you have to do is have a positive attitude and willing to try new things. So, ఇప్పుడు మా company గురించి we'll play 2 minutes video, and also there is a print brochure అండి. When you're leaving, you can take that with you. Please look at it, and then if you have any questions or you want to get my contact information, please come to me. I'm sitting with the orange team, so please get my name and number. And again, this is Bharti Ramesham, and thank you for TGS team Andi to giving me this opportunity to talk to you guys. Thank you.
Hello. మీరు ఫుడ్ తీసుకొని get back to your places. Oh yeah. Anupi Singla మనకి మాట్లాడతారు.
Cooking is fun. Please sit down. Anupi Singla. Please have a seat.
మీరు ఒక 5
back to your place. Hey girls, please take place and get the food and have seat. We can enjoy the jacket. I don't want to have chit chat there. After dinner we can have lots of fun. So don't worry, we will have enough time. Thank you all for supporting us. మనకి అనూపి సింగ్ గారి కుకింగ్ స్కిల్స్ అయ్యాక మనము టీమ్ బిల్డింగ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ జరిగాయి కదా వాళ్ళ విన్నర్స్ అనౌన్స్ చేద్దాము సో లెట్స్ వెయిట్ ఫర్ ఇట్
Ladies, can we have your attention, please?
ఇప్పుడు పద్మ మాదిరెడ్డి గారు వస్తున్నారు కుకింగ్ ఈజ్ ఫన్ అంటున్న అనూపి సింగ్ గారిని ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేయడానికి లెట్స్ వెల్కమ్ హర్
నమస్కారం ఎవ్రీబడి. అమెరికాలో ఆడపడుచులు అమ్మ అన్నం ఆకలి చూసారా ఎన్ని విధాలుగా అమ్మ అనే వర్డ్ రైమ్ అవుతుందో. సో America is the melting pot of cultures. However, it is very important that every culture retains its roots. So today I am introducing you Mrs. Anupi Singla, who is a very successful journalist, reporter and correspondent for various news sources. She is also an Indian mother who saw the necessity of exposing her children to Indian culture through authentic cuisine. She has published 2 successful books, The Indian Slow Cooker and Vegan Indian Cooking, which offers easy ways for the entire family to get involved in making healthy and delicious Indian meals every day. Ladies, please join me in welcoming Bale Vantalu. Cooking is fun guru Anupi Singla giving us tips on blending East and West cultures. Anupi Singla.
One thing that Padma did not tell me was the dress code for today, so I'm so embarrassed. I've had a very hectic day. She was very sweet because she knew how busy my day was. Okay, let's just start. Obviously, I was raised in the States. I came to Philadelphia with my parents when I was 3. I was born in Chandigarh in Punjab, and I was raised by a mother who basically pushed me out of the kitchen. Because she said, you will not be like me, you will not be tied to the kitchen, you will not be bringing food to your husband, you will be working. So I went through my whole life not thinking about cooking. She never taught me how to cook, and I think many of you may be in a similar position. I know many of your children tell me the same thing when I talk to them. But my first language was Hindi and Punjabi. I still remember it. And I have very vivid memories of my family in India because we have 12 brothers and sisters on my mother's side, and we have 4 sisters on my father's side. I have over 50, 60 cousins throughout India and throughout the world. I've always wanted to grow up and live in India, and I really missed it and really remembered it. We talked about passion on the last panel. I've never had a problem finding my passion. I've had a problem convincing my father of my passion. I've had a lot of passion. I've always known what it was, but he decided I needed to be a doctor. So all through school, I got straight A's, and then I took biology, and I took, chemistry, and I took all of that. I did well until I had to go to college and take organic chemistry, and I failed it. Imagine being Indian back in the 70s and 80s and failing in class. We came, back in the early 70s to this country, so it was even tougher. So he said, okay. He said, Beta, what do you want to do? And I said, I love to write. I'm a writer. I've been writing since I was maybe 10, in journals, everything. And I said, I'd like to write. He said, well, how much money are you going to make if you write? I said, I don't know what you do as a writer. Nobody in our family had done that. But he said, okay. He resisted it, but he said, okay, obviously you cannot do, you can't be a doctor because you're failing all these classes. So as soon as I took all of the classes I wanted to take, French, I'm very good at languages. I still remember Hindi and Punjabi fluently. I can speak it. I don't know Telugu yet. But yeah, I love languages. It could be another word, yeah. I'll come back for lessons, I promise. But basically, when I did what I wanted to do, I excelled. But we still didn't know what I was going to do career-wise. It was very nerve-wracking because when you're coming to this country, you don't know. You only know what you know. And what you knew in India, what they knew, I shouldn't speak for you, what they knew was basically engineering, becoming a doctor, and I don't know if that's still true, yes. But I think it is. And so that was their safe. There's nothing wrong with it. The point is, though, we talked earlier about getting out of those fear areas. And you have to get out of those little sections of being fearful to be able to talk to the people around you and see what your children, talk to your children to see what really does drive them and does interest them. So as my brother and I went through school, my first career, I went to Washington, D.C., and I was one of the first Indian Americans to work on Capitol Hill. It's become very hip now. Thank you. It's become very cool now to do that. It wasn't then. Back then, it was very sexist as well, I'm being very honest, because I remember one day going to a friend's house, and I had a paid position as a legislative assistant on Capitol Hill, and I fought for it, and I did it. And there was a friend who was a man, around my age at the time, who came to dinner at my friend's house. And then we sat to dinner. And first question that was asked to me was, well, how much money are you making? And I said, well, that's really none of your business, auntie and uncle. With all respect, I'm pretty honest and frank. So I'm always surprised when you have me up here for a panel discussion because I'm pretty honest and straightforward. I said, that's really none of your business, but why don't you ask the guy next to me how much he's making? He's actually an intern. Happened to be an intern at the White House, but he was an intern. He wasn't even a paid position, but he was getting so much respect and being told that he would go far in his life. But I never got that in the beginning. I didn't have the support of my parents. I didn't have the support of the community. That's changing, and it's becoming very cool now that you see Sanjay Gupta as a reporter to say, well, that's a cool profession, but a lot of us were doing it before it was cool. And a lot of times, the community tends to support, I don't know what this has to do with the love of cooking, we'll get to that in a minute. A lot of times, the community tends to support the boys and the men that go into these fields in our community and not the women. So I was always the one that would raise my hand and say, I'm going to do it, I don't care what anybody says. And that's a level of what you have to also attain. If you really believe in yourself, you have to first take those steps and say respectfully, it's okay that someone disagrees with what I want to do, but you're going to go out and you're going to do it, but you're also going to do it with a plan. You don't just do it haphazardly. You don't just do it completely against what everyone is saying to do, but you do it slowly, and you do it in a smart way. So when I went, worked on Capitol Hill, got my graduate degree, I lived in Hawaii, I got my graduate degree in Japanese, and my dad said, what are you going to do with Japanese? And I said, I don't know, I just love Japan, and I love the language, I'm going to do something. Came back and decided, you know what, I'm going to give it all up, and I'll apply to the State Department, but I kind of want to be a reporter. And he said, but I heard if you work for the State Department, your parents get driven in a special car, so just definitely try for the State Department. I said, okay. So got accepted, and then I said, Dad, I'm sorry, I'm going to be a reporter. And he said, well, what about the car? I said, that's more about you than it is about me. So all these years I've been a reporter, and I've been on TV working in Chicago, and I've had a great time. But the moment that it hit me that I wanted to change my career a bit again was when we had a very big story in Chicago years ago when a Southwest airline jet went off the runway and killed a 6-year-old boy. I don't know if you remember this, it was over Christmas. I was one of the first reporters on the scene that morning, and I did hits for CNN and all the stations and CLTV where I worked, and KTLA. But you know what, when I came home, I saw that my kids, who were young girls at the time, they're still pretty young, were eating soggy broccoli at home. And it struck me, wait a minute, we're going after these careers, they're great. My mom had a career, she worked, she was a great role model growing up. She still managed to get dinner on the table every night that was Indian. Every single night. Unless we resisted and went something else. Even the spaghetti had jeera in it or something. So that's gonna go in my cookbook. Now it's hot to eat something like that, it was embarrassing. But what I'm saying is, she still did it. So why are we not doing it? Okay? So I said to my husband, I said, look, if I was working at CNN, right now I have my dream job, maybe that's not the course I would take. But I'm still in Chicago. I probably have to move a market to go to where I want to go eventually. So let's take a step back. I'm going to step back and I'm going to do something really different. And if you read that book, Lean In, maybe that's not the right answer for everybody, but it was the right answer for me at the time because he traveled. He was gone all week. And I was managing the kids, the home, everything. And I was also so sleep deprived because I was waking up at 1:30 in the morning for my job, which a lot of people don't realize morning reporters do, that I once fell asleep in the dentist chair with a drill in my mouth still. So you can imagine how tired I was. And I said, let me just take a break. And let me just write, and let me try to cook every recipe I have ever grown up eating, Indian, and see if my kids will try to eat it. Let's try to change the way they think about Indian food and who they are, because being Indian to me is really important. It's important they learn their language, they know how to read and write Hindi. And it's important that they eat Indian food because food is our way of passing down our culture and our roots and everything that we believe in. And so what happens sometimes is when you're coming right from India and you're coming here and you haven't been raised in this country, you kind of give in to those social cues that your kids come home with and say, Mommy, this doesn't smell so good, I'm embarrassed. Or I don't know if any of you have that, you know, at home with your young kids. Or you get so busy and overwhelmed, you say, okay, you want pasta, it's going to be pasta, or it's going to be mac and cheese, or whatever it is. But my feeling is, in this country, you're really lucky to be here at this time because a lot of us paved the path for many of you back in the 70s and in the 80s. Because when we came, there were no Indian grocery stores. When we came, there was no place to buy Indian food. There were no restaurants. I didn't touch naan or even know what naan was until the first restaurant opened in Philadelphia back in the 1980s. I didn't even know what that was. The people don't even realize that North Indians do not eat naan. They eat roti, right? So you're constantly explaining these things. But what I'm trying to say is, we grew up at a time when it was really, really negative to be doing these things. Your kids are probably growing up in a time now where it's accepted. In fact, the kids that are not Indian at school are asking your kids, can I try Indian food? Whether it's dosa, because it's gluten-free, and everybody wants that, or whether it's an idli, which is, you know, again, another thing that people want to try to make or they hear about. It's hip, it's hot, it's interesting. So what I've done is I basically taken a way to communicate, because I know how to communicate in this Western sort of atmosphere, and I've taken what my parents believe in and what many of you believe in, and I've been able to translate that so that folks that are American and not necessarily Indian understand it and get it. So my first cookbook was The Indian Slow Cooker. My mom was one of the first Indians in America to cook Indian in a crock pot. Did you know that you can cook Indian food successfully? Sambar, rajma, chola, sarsong ka saag, everything in a crock pot. And so that book, it's interesting, has been the #1 Indian cookbook on Amazon since it was released in 2010. And we've sold over 65,000 copies, believe it or not. And you know who they're being sold to? Non-Indians. Yes. Okay? Because the South Asian community is just learning. Oh, wow. You know, I might be able to learn tips from. Often we think that we know all the answers. But what you have to learn is, if you're going to go and start a small business, which you should if you want to do that, if you're going to go outside the home and do other things, you're going to be away from the kitchen as well. You should still know there's value in getting that dinner on the table. Don't lose that aspect of your day-to-day for yourself or for your kids, because they'll not appreciate it while they're eating it. I promise you they won't. But they will eventually appreciate it. My kids are 10 and 7 now, and frankly, if I give them pizza once or twice a week, they say, "Mommy, what's wrong? Were you too busy to make roti, fresh roti for me? What's wrong?" Because when they come home, they demand Indian food, and it has to be taza, fresh, and it has to be made by me, and it has to be made right. They won't eat it in the restaurant. So it's interesting, I've spoiled them the other way. But I think that's great, because what we're doing is teaching them the value of keeping our culture and our roots. And I just want to leave you with this message that you should be proud of what you eat and what you give your kids, and you should pack it in their lunch boxes, and instead of shying away when they say, "Mommy, I'm embarrassed that something is in my lunchbox," say, "Well, I'll come to your school, and I'll teach the other kids on whatever, Diwali or whatever, Holi or whatever it is. I'll make something for the other kids. I'll have the kids over. I'll have the moms come over and realize that dosa is gluten-free. Know what's going on and what's important in the American and the English vernacular, and use what you know best." I always tell my mom, it's so interesting that she's, she still speaks with an Indian accent. She still feels a little bit embarrassed when she goes into crowds. But I say to her now, I said, "Mom, do you know that everybody now is touting turmeric? And they want to learn how to make naan and roti? All the things you grew up with are now valued. So now go out there and be an expert and be an ambassador for what is important to you and what you're really, really good at. Because most of you are experts in doing all of that. So go out there and share it with as many people as you can." Any questions?
Thank you, Anupri, for sharing your experiences. Any questions? She'll take the questions.
I'll be honest. Okay. I didn't read your book, but I do put jeera in my spaghetti.
And I bet it's good. Yes, in the back.
Your career, the path of your career looks very inspiring. The reason I say is you took several directions. I want to know how did you manage to take up a completely different career, right? I mean, you being at a hotel and then becoming a
Yeah, so the question is, how I had so many different paths in terms of a career, and how did I manage to try those things, right? Try those different things. I know it's kind of interesting. I don't know, maybe because things happen in life for reasons that you may never know. I mean, there's a reason why I failed a class in college, organic chemistry. There just was no interest in it. I just am also incredibly stubborn. My husband will tell you that when I decide I'm going to do something, if someone says no, I'm in. That's great. I love no, because no means that you're going to hear from me again and again. And again, I'm very polite about it. I'm very nice about it. But I'm really determined. I don't know. I just enjoy what I do, and I always feel like there's a way that you can make it work for you. They were talking about marketing earlier. I think that most people don't know how to market really well. They don't know how to market themselves, and they definitely do not know how to put your best foot forward or even write that well. That to me, I'm a born writer and communicator. And so for me, I mean, I've had to learn certain things about it along the way. It just comes so naturally that I tend to be able to pull things in and make things out of them. So for example, when I went to write my cookbook, I didn't know that it would be popular. My publisher basically told me, well, I'll be happy if I sell just a couple hundred copies of this book. I mean, we didn't think that it was going to be so popular, but I think the fact that I wrote it the way I did, it's written like a writer, there's storyline through the entire book, it kind of pulls two cultures together. That was part of the success as well. It's not just about writing recipes. You all could write a cookbook. All of you could write a cookbook with the cooking that you do at home. Not all of you can stand up here or on a TV in front of a camera and express it. So you need to get to the point where you can do those sorts of things for your businesses. And the way you do it is you go and you ask for help and you talk to people. A lot of us, there's two reasons I think that we tend to not do that. One is as a community we're kind of shyer, and there's a level of arrogance in our community, which drives me crazy. Not just ours, but others too. But there's a level of arrogance like, I know that. I can do that. That's easy. I write for an Indian paper. I know I can be a reporter. Oh, really? You were on TV? I can do that. Yeah, you can. So learn the skills. Always ask questions. We're afraid to act like we don't know something. That's what I did. I just always, whenever I go and I don't know something, and I don't know if this is completely answering your question, but I pretend like I'm really stupid. You know, when I go into rooms and I ask, oh, so what do you do? I never tell people what I do. And I always try to see how they're going to react. I just always kind of watch and listen and learn, you know? And don't feel insecure when you're going into situations. Know that people love to talk about themselves. And ask them lots of questions. Stay in touch with people that you admire. And try to learn from them. But I always say at the end of the day, have some type of business plan. I don't have a need for a lot of money in my life. Maybe that's why I was able to do what I did. Because I could be poor and be happy writing, and that's okay. I didn't do it for the money component, but all of that's now coming because, not a lot of it, but what I'm saying is we're making money because the business is called Indian as Apple Pie, and I've been able to pull it together to say it's not just cookbooks now, but now we're doing spices, we're doing a sauce line, and we have a spice box in Williams-Sonoma, and I teach for Whole Foods. So like, I'm able to take it now and make it a business. But things don't always start out as businesses. They start out as little ideas that grow and grow and grow. And you might have a day job while you do your side business, but have that day job and pay your bills and do your side business all along. You can do side businesses from your basement after work if you have an interest in your business and grow it as you're doing your day job. And then one day it'll just overcome your day job. It just takes time. Anybody else? Yes?
So how do you know how to find a publisher? Let's say that if you're writing a cookbook or anything, or how do you market yourself? You say that most people don't know how to market themselves. So what's the right way to market yourself?
Yeah, I think the question is how do you find a publisher if you're going to write a book? And the second question is how do you market yourself? So how do you find a publisher? That could be a panel in itself. We could be talking about it for a whole day. You have to have a really great idea. No, let me nix that. You have to have a great idea what you think is a great idea. Believe in your idea, right? So I had this idea I wanted to write a cookbook, but what I did was instead of just going out and saying, hey, publish my cookbook, I asked people. I pitched my idea to people that were just like you. Like I would just meet you and go, and you'd say, what do you do? I'm a writer. And I'd wait for the response. Are you excited by that or does that bore you? And then I would say, well, I'm writing this cookbook. I don't know if you like Indian food. Like, I always say it that way. And then I wait for the reaction. And most people say, I love Indian food. I said, okay, well, it's about slow cooker. Do you have a slow cooker? That's so old school. I don't think you have a slow cooker. And then they'll say, oh my God, I have some. Then I'll kind of like gauge, well, okay, so this could be possibly a good idea. That's part of it. The next part of it is you write a proposal, which is 70 pages if you're not a writer. So for me, my proposal was my writing. I have 15 years, 20 years of writing experience. So I started because I was not in the food arena. I was a breaking news reporter that was doing like murders and accidents and politicians in Illinois going to prison, those kind of things in the mornings. I knew that I had to get my credentials in food. So that's what I say is no one's going to give you a chance if you don't have a background in something. Very few people, I should say, should give you a chance. You should work for it. You should earn it. So I called the Sun-Times newspaper. I called the editor. I said, you don't know me? She goes, oh, I do. I used to watch you all the time. I said, okay. I'd like to write a few pieces. She goes, okay, just pitch it. Because I know you can write. You're a reporter. You've already done the X amount of years. So then I wrote it. And I said, well, I'm also working on this cookbook. And I wrote a couple of stories about Indian food. They went over well. And then I said, I'm writing this cookbook. She said, okay, well, I've got this publisher that might be interested. Met him. And he took me on spec. But that happens because I had 15 years of experience. So if you don't, and you want to write, a book, does anybody want to write a book? I'm just curious in this audience. Yeah, sure. Somebody in the back. All right.
About cookbook, actually.
A cookbook, yes. Okay. So what I would suggest you do is you start looking for an outlet for your writing, okay? Whether it's a local newspaper, or if it's which suburb are we in? Because I live in the city, so I always think this is like a different country. Mount Prospect, okay. So, is there a paper in this area, or wherever you guys live? I'm sure there's like a local weekly, or a local whatever it is. Start writing recipes for them. Everybody loves it. Indian food is hip now. I'm telling you, this is not how we grew up. So write recipes, contribute recipes, write for the paper, start cooking, write them down. And as you start compiling and as you start writing, it'll all start to come together. But know that you have to make it different than what's out there, so know your competition. You gotta go out there and do your research. And the marketing part of it is about so many different things. No one has one way to market because all of you are different people. My way of marketing myself is very different, but the way I market myself is, I always say as a reporter, people want to know the story behind the story. So, anybody on Facebook? So if I can ask you a favor by the end of the night or by tomorrow, can you like my fan page, Indian as Apple Pie? I have a bet with my publisher that I'm going to get 20,000 likes by July. Yay! Okay. That's shameless marketing, I know. But the only reason is, who's going to buy me a lunch? If I don't get it, I have to pay for lunch. I'm really poor right now. I don't think I can afford it. But what I'm saying is, like, on my page, Indian as Apple Pie, and it's on my personal page, I don't just talk about cooking. I don't just talk about, you know, I woke up and I made a pronta and it was good. You know? I talk about, I woke up today, I made a pronta and it was really bad. Well, here's why. Like, be honest to be yourself. Like, a lot of folks feel like marketing is about being someone you're not. The best marketing and marketers in the world, they're who you are. Like, for example, if you've just come from India, you know, I don't know, what's a good example? I just got my citizenship. I voted for the first time. That's an amazing story. You might be kind of nervous. I remember the first time my mom voted. That was really nerve-wracking for her. That is an amazing way to market yourself. And you could say, well, I got my confidence from Mary Kay. And that's kind of a subtle way to put it in there. For me, I do a lot of marketing because I do a lot of writing, teaching moms that are not Indian, well, Indians and non-Indians. I commentate on NPR and I do all that about eating healthy, kids eating healthy. And I write for the Tribune about kids eating healthy. So a lot of my writing is about my kids. So I don't write things like, oh, my kids got up and said, Mommy, I love you. I say, my 7-year-old woke up and said, Mommy, my gosh, well, you have so much jewelry, because she saw the wedding jewelry. So when you die, do I get it all? That's funny, and she said it, and it just, you know, blows my mind. So I like to inject humor. That's just who I am. I like to be self-deprecating. I don't need to, like, be the star in the room. I like to find the star in the room and talk about them. So find your voice. It's called point of view. So if you watch these Food Network shows, whenever somebody has a show, they're always saying, have a point of view. What's your point of view? Like, if you're writing a cookbook, what's your point of view? Well, you tell me. I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. But what's type of cooking? What kind of point of view?
Well, actually, I have to say, cooking relaxes me. You know, I mean, I work really long hours, and then my husband is really, I mean, he cooks too, by the way. So, and when I come home, he's saying, you know, and I put Indian food on the table every day. I still make, you know, rotis and everything. Yeah. And my husband says, you know, how come? I mean, you just come home after like 12 hours a day, and then again, you're back in the kitchen. You spend so much time. This is relaxing. You know, that actually.
So I almost feel like if you're gonna do that, what I would say to you is write a blog. Start blogging. Like, that's what I did. Even though blogging is kind of old school, I think it's still, if you have a good point of view, cooking relaxes me. I mean, that would be a great title for a blog, right? I've just written it for you. So then you just write, today I cooked and my husband said, be honest. My husband said, what's wrong with you? And he's like the only Indian man that knows how to cook. No, I'm only kidding. But you know what I'm trying to say is inject humor into it and start writing about your life and writing about you. And even if you're not going to do it publicly, get a journal and do it so your kids appreciate it later. Any other questions? I know everybody's ready to eat. I don't want to ever get in between people and their food because that's really dangerous.
Anupi, thank you, and for making us realize there are professions beyond physician, medical field and engineering field where we can guide our kids to be successful in other areas also, as you are. So, thank you.
Now I request Jyoti Chindikani to comment on it, Anupi. Thank you so much, Anupi. Thanks for sharing.
తీసుకోండి ఫస్ట్ వచ్చిన వాళ్ళని కొంతమందిని కొద్దిసేపు ఆపాల్సి వచ్చిందండి డోంట్ థింక్ అదర్వైజ్ బికాస్ స్పీకర్స్ ఆర్ స్టిల్ టాకింగ్ కదా అందుకని సో ప్లీజ్ సర్వ్ యువర్సెల్ఫ్ అండ్ ఎంజాయ్ ద ఫుడ్ అండ్ ఇఫ్ యు వాంట్ ఎవ్రీబడి ఆఫ్టర్ డిన్నర్ వి వాంట్ టు టేక్ ఎ గ్రూప్ పిక్చర్ అండి ఆల్ ద ఉమెన్ లైక్ వి వాంట్ టు సెండ్
హలో అండి కొంతమంది వెళ్ళిపోతున్నారు ఇఫ్ యూ డోంట్ మైండ్ ఒక్క 2 minutes కి ఇక్కడికి వస్తే గ్రూప్ పిక్చర్ తీసుకుందామండి ఐ థింక్ ఇట్ విల్ బి అ గుడ్ రిప్రజెంటేషన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఆర్గనైజేషన్ సో యా అదే అయిన తర్వాత we have lot of fun games planned so can you all come here so we can just take a group picture
లేదు స్నాక్ తీసుకుందాం ఆ పక్కనే బిర్యానీ ఉంటే అది వేసేసాం ఏదో ఏదో తినేసాం లేట్ వచ్చింది వేయడం అన్ని
okay everybody please can you please come forward for a group picture
ఇలా ఉండడానికి కారణక్కర్లా ఇప్పుడు ఇలాగే మొన్న ఎవరు అంటున్నారు మీకు నిద్ర చేయడానికి
అదే అదే ఫోటో మస్తు బాగా next blue group purple group whatever rainbow blue group sit down please everyone join with us for a group picture guys please let's make it quickly group picture everybody all the ladies even the youngsters we want you Anuti you should be in the middle yeah okay fine girls let's put some chairs let's put some chairs and sit and then let's make a step level quickly hurry up and grab your own chairs please guys please girls ladies bring the chairs and have a seat one row we are sitting on the chairs and then the other row will sit on the floor
But it's overwriting. Is it overwriting?